Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday night card readings. As usual, I've got Andy as my co-host in his little red dress to do
Oh,
all the
it's all flashy
comparing,
tonight. The cleavage is out. The big boots are on.
and he's covered in Christmas lights.
He is.
Merry Yule to everybody. The Yule period has actually started today and runs through till January the 2nd. So have a nice Yule, everybody, rather than saying Happy Christmas. Do you want to wish anybody Happy Yule, Andy?
Oh, go on then. Happy Yule, everybody.
That was such an enthusiastic Happy Yule.
It was.
Gotta laugh. Right, who's first on the list then, Andy?
First on list, I don't know if she's come in yet, but it's Lindsay. Oh, yeah, she's in.
Lindsay.
Lindsay, first on list, yeah.
Lindsay. Okie dokie. We'll start with Lindsay then. Oh, interesting reading. Right, Lindsay, we've got past, present, future, and final outcome. Let's pull them down a fraction. You just have to ignore the fact that you've got Andy's screen there. Your first one, which is your past, is the Ten of Swords. Now this is an interesting one because for me, it always signifies the death of ideas. So recently in the past, some kind of ideas that you've held close to your aura belief system, you've changed a lot. It has been really important because it is in recent past, and it's definitely the death of ideas or beliefs. Your personal beliefs, not the beliefs of somebody else. And it isn't a gradual change. It's basically a massive rethinking on something on an intellectual level. Really interesting to have it there because it's already happened. So whatever it is ain't coming up in your future. It's recently happened. I'm thinking it's probably more a change in a belief system than it is actually a change in ideas. I'm just getting the impression off the card that it's more the death of a belief in some way rather than the death of an idea. What is really interesting now is it then links into the First of Swords for your present, which is really interesting because the Ace of Swords is the exact opposite of what the Ten of Swords is, which is basically saying that they're obviously linked together. The death of this belief system now has brought you into the present, where you're now embarking on a new set of beliefs, a new set of guidelines in your life. This is all happening around you now, so it's been going on recently, and it's going to continue on for the next few months. An whole new reshuffling of ideas is coming up. You're in that phase of your life, probably because it's the end of the year. You're probably planning now what you're going to be doing, belief and idea wise, for the coming year, and that is what it's saying. Really interesting that you've linked out of the 10 into the ace, because the 10 is saying you've just had the death of ideas. The swords is saying this is the beginning of your new ideas. And the reason I think that it's more belief than ideas, because your next card linking in is a cups card, which is an emotional card, and to me that that signifies beliefs rather than ideas. But it's definitely you're now on a path to new belief system, new plans going on in your head, a new way of you're setting things out ready for the new year. And these plans you've got now, Lindsay. You've probably made some, but there's other ideas in your head that you need to take forward because you've got the sword, the Ace of Swords. It's saying now is the time to implement them plans, because it's the ideal period over the next 6 months to do it. It literally is, Joanne, a new decade, a new start. But this is definitely linked out of the recent past with the death of a belief system or the death of beliefs. I don't know whether it's one or a series of beliefs, but you've definitely put those beliefs to bed, and they have brought you onto a new level of beliefs and a new way of thinking. And this is saying now is the time to do it. You've cut away the dead wood, so to speak, and now is the time to implement all the new ideas and hopes you've got going along. Right, leading on into your into your future. Sorry, you've got the cups, the 10 of cups, which is rather interesting, because what it's saying is, whatever these ideas and plans are, this belief system, you're really going to take it to heart. It's going to be very much an emotional journey for you. So what it's saying is, although you're going to have this new belief system, this belief system is going to be led on more of an emotional level than an intellectual level or a physical level. You know, these ideas and plans are definitely going to come from the emotional side of yourself, definitely from the emotional plane. Plus the fact it's the 10, it's really good, because that shows very positive emotions and very set emotions. It's nothing to do with positive and negative. It's definitely a positive thing. But these ideas and these beliefs, it's saying go with your heart, not your head. So for me, that's more of being introspective than taking information from an outside point of view. By all means, do research, but what it's saying is go with your heart rather than what your head's telling you, because going with your heart now is going to set you up with a belief system and a plan to move forward that is going to definitely put you on the right path, which is really nice. Linking into the final outcome, you've got the 8 of Pentacles, which is really nice. And what this is saying to me is, because that guy, you can see he's actually working with the money stacking up the wall the side of him, it's saying that whatever these ideas and beliefs are, you are going to make a financial gain from them. Probably a nice financial gain as well. Like I always say to people, you're not going to turn into Lord Sugar, but there's definitely opportunities there to make money from these new ideas and plans. I lost my faith when I lost my dad. I'm now looking more into pagan beliefs. I have got these ideas coming up. That's very true, and it'll definitely be on an emotional level for you, Lindsay. No doubt about it. But there's also a business opportunity coming along with these ideas. There is most definitely a business idea coming, but it is going to have to be as a result of hard work. It's not going to be something that's just going to fall into your lap as a result of these plans. It is something you're going to have to work at, but it's something you're more than capable of doing. And it can be it can make you a nice little sum money wise. It does show stability in the material side of things, but because it's linking to what the last 3 cards, it's definitely saying that the money side of things is actually coming from these beliefs and ideas. It's not just saying, oh, you're going to be financially secure in the future. It's saying that you've got some work to do regarding these ideas, but there is a chance, if you take it, to convert them to a financial benefit. Most definitely a financial benefit. That's about as much as I can tell you off them, Lindsay. But I will say, this reading is definitely all about you. There's not many outside influences, occurring in this reading. All these cards are referring to you on a personal level. They're not really referring to outside influences. Obviously, you got the support of John. That goes without saying. But most of this is going to come as a result of what you do personally. There's no need to be relying on other people. All this is going to be down to your own hard work. So, I hope that helps. You're welcome, Lindsay. Oh, it's always nice to start on a positive one, Andy.
Yep, definitely.
So there you go. Lindsay's going to make it past Christmas. John, I'm going to be a kept man. I don't think it's going to be quite that rich, John. But I think it's going to be a nice way to make a nice bit of pocket money off beliefs and ideas she's currently stewing around. But now is definitely the time to do it, Lindsay. Don't wait and leave. Don't think, oh, I'll do it in a few months' time. Now's the time to start doing it. Now's the time to start putting them into action. Right, who did you say was next, Andy?
Yeah, it's Vicky.
Vicky.
Yeah.
Thank God it's somebody with an easy to remember name. As you could probably hear, my cough's a lot better as well. I'm still a bit chesty, but not as much as I was. Let's move these across a bit, because... Oh. Oh, wow. This is another self-reliance reading. Right, we'll start off with your recent past, which is the Four of Cups. Now this one is a really... Yeah, I've still got two lungs, Joanne, thankfully. This one is a really strange card, because this is one of the cards I always consider as a peace offering card. Because, let me push that card up a fraction. If you look, you've got three cards on the floor, and then one is offered to the guy under the tree out of a cloud, a little hand appearing out of the cloud. So to me, that always it always makes me think straight away that in the recent past there has been some kind of disagreement going on an emotional level, involving a group of people, but during that situation, somebody either offered an olive branch or stepped in to help you with that situation. And I'll say now, because before I move on to the card, I'll get the impression it was a woman, or a female at least. There has been this emotional turmoil recently. This, and I ain't going to say it was a major argument, but there's been some kind of emotional turmoil surrounding you and a number of people, not just one person. It's been a number of people. I'm also getting the impression it could have been family related as well. If not family, definitely very close circle of friends. It's not your outer social circle. It's definitely the inner social circle. I'm getting the impression this is from. But there was a person who some way offered you the emotional support you needed to get through it. And I get the impression it was a woman, because of the Queen of Swords. Right. Moving on to your present, like I've just said, you got the Queen of Swords. Now, the Queen of Swords, in this respect, is referencing you. And swords always represent you on the intellectual level. And I always consider it as a self-reliance card. So what it's saying is, whatever this situation was that has gone on recently, it's brought you to this point. Andy, can you just talk a sec while I just quickly talk to Jace?
Yeah.
Cheers. Hello.
No problems, Nicky. I'll let you know at end if in a little while, if nobody else asks. We have got a few slots spare tonight, so if anybody would like a reading that's not had one, or if you're new to the channel.
Sorry about that. Go away. I've spoke to you. It's right. The phone cut off, and I think he keeps ringing back. Yeah. On the level now, on the period of your life now, it's saying it's brought you to a point where you're in a better situation regarding whatever this was. You had to go through this experience to bring you to where you are now, but it had balanced you on an intellectual level. You're in the position you need to be in your head right now. It does show that you're going to start. You're going to be you're in control of your own destiny now, literally. You've pushed whatever's gone on in the past to the past, where it should stay, and now is the time to look forward and be positive. The Queen of Swords is one of the best cards to have if there's been some kind of disruption surrounding you. It's always a good card to have linking onto from. So it is saying definitely a self-reliance card at the moment. You have reached the point in your head now where you're settled. Your worries you've sorted out, but it is also an advisory that you are in control of your own destiny, and it's up to you to maintain that. Um, because there are other things about to come up which are showing in your future card, which is justice. But it's saying that at this precise moment in time, you are at the stage where you are going to deal with what's coming up for you. Um, Again, I will say that it's a self-reliance card. I'm getting the impression off this card that you are a very reliant person anyway. You're not the sort of person who's easily pushed around. But I do think that what recently happened did unsettle you a bit, and it maybe knocked you off your keel slightly. But you're now back on the track that you need to be. You're now back to your normal self. Right, leading into your future, there is some kind of decision coming up, and quite an important decision, because it's justice. Now, because it's justice, it doesn't necessarily mean it's justice as in legal justice. It could just be as in a moralistic type situation. And this is definitely coming up for you in the. I'm getting the impression off the card it's probably going to be within the next 2 to 3 months maximum. It's not going to be a 6 month thing. It's going to come up within the next 3 months. And I do feel that it's not. It's not. I don't think it's legal. I think it's more moralistic. Um, you are going to be put in the position again, maybe with family or friends, where you're going to have to make a moral decision. But linking back to your present, because you've got the Queen of Swords, it's reassurance that you are in the position to deal with it. Most definitely. It's saying go with your head, go with what you know right, because this decision that's coming up is going to be very important to you. Even though I get the impression it's actually concerning somebody else, the situation itself, I do believe there's an impact for you regarding this situation. So you do have to keep that in mind to make sure that you don't slip in the trap of doing what's better for them rather than what's better for you. Go with what your head tells you, not what your heart tells you, because the Queen of Swords is definitely going intellectual side of things rather than the emotional side of things. So it's definitely saying let your head rule the situation. But like I say, I don't think it's nothing bad, and it's nothing major. People see that and they suddenly think they're going to go to court, and that isn't the fact at all. But I do believe you have got some kind of moral um, dilemma coming up in the next few months, Vicky, that you need to deal with. And all that he's saying is go with your head, not your heart. Your final outcome, again, is a nice card. It's the Nine of Pentacles, pretty high up in the Pentacle line, so that's really good. Again, that is saying that your future materialistically wise is going to be fine. Um, People are not going to be interfering with you in a manner that's going to affect you in any way long term. You are definitely going to end up in charge of your own situation, and I think that is reinforcing back to the Queen of Swords. This entire reading is screaming uh, self independence at me. It really is. It's really saying to me you are a person who relies on themselves before they rely on anybody else, and this is definitely what's showing in your final outcome. Definitely a settled future for you. Nothing majorly nasty's on the horizon. Like I say, you've got that bit of a moralistic decision to make, but it's nothing major. You are going to come out of it okay because you've got the Nine of Pentacles. Had there have been something like the Tower there, or death or something like that, then that would have been more of a negative outcome. But the Nine of Pentacles is a very positive card. It's Even though it's a Pentacles card, the Nine of Pentacles always makes me think of stability on all levels: the emotional, the physical, um, and the material, most definitely. So definitely a good outcome for you there, Vicky. Just rely on yourself over the next few months, is what it's saying. Don't your self reliance is coming through this reading really strongly. You're You're an independent woman, basically, is what it's saying, and it's this independence that's going to carry you through. So I hope that helped, Vicky. That's about the best I can do for you. Okie coke.
Okay, okay.
Have you managed to talk Becky into doing one?
No, she's not having it tonight because she ain't
Chicken.
got camera access on the thing at the minute.
Oh, right.
We're gonna get it sorted though.
Cool.
We're gonna get it sorted.
Cool. Because she can do
Yeah,
she can do one for me then, because I never get my
Yeah, she
cards
can.
read. And
That's it,
I
yeah.
honestly cannot read my own, Andy. As soon as I put them down, they all just go blank.
Mhm.
I get nothing off them
Brilliant.
for myself at all. Not a thing.
Right.
Right, who's next?
Right, next up is Louise.
Louise. I think Maureen's just bothered that they're just happy that the gambling's all switched on.
Weekend gambler.
Yeah. Maureen's getting rich for Yule. Right, Louise. Oh, wow. Well, this reading is very similar to the last one, except it's more on the physical level. Right, Louise. There has been some kind of, and I will say, heartbreak recently. In the recent past, that card to me at the moment is definitely saying heartbreak. Maureen Abrit, lol. That card is definitely saying some kind of broken heart for somebody. And again, it's linking into the card next to the Queen of Wands. So I ain't quite sure yet. I'm just going to study the cards and see where I get off them. But there's definitely been some kind of heartbreak recently in your past that has had a big impact on you. Probably, I would think it would be you. Whoever it is, it's connected to a woman who is very down to earth. Almost like a Mother Earth type figure. A woman who's very, very family orientated. So I don't know whether this is you or not, Louise, but it's heartbreak concerning this woman, and I get the feeling it is you. And the present card is it's more of a description of the person from the first card more so than a what's happening. Oh, right, okay, Louise. Then what's happening in now? It's a descriptive card of you. It's saying that you're a very, very down to earth person. You work very much on the physical level. That ain't to say that that you're a cold person or anything, but you're one of these people who can work from the physical rather than the emotional or the mental. It's what our class as a very down to earth person. I always think the Queen of Wands represents. I always say if I'd got to pick a card for Becky, I would always pick the Queen of Cards for Becky, Andy, because
Yeah.
it signifies a very down to earth and grounded person, and that's
Yeah.
what it's saying. And what it's saying to you now, Louise, is at the moment it's this down to earthness and this ability to ground yourself, which is what's carrying you through at the moment. Um, it is significant heartbreak because it's the three swords literally slicing through the heart. But you again, like the last reading, you've been self-reliant in dealing with it, and what I'm getting off that card is it's your grounded attitude, your down to earth attitude that's carried you through. It ain't been easy for you, without a doubt, but you have survived it, and you're still surviving it right now. It's still very much around you. Um, but in this sense, it is saying that you can actually lean on friends a bit more. So I always say with the Queen of Swords always indicates somebody who relies on nobody but themselves in a situation. The Queen of Wands is the exact opposite. It's the nurturer type of female. So they will pull in friends sort of thing to help them through things. But ultimately it's your own common sense and your own down to earthness and the ability to ground yourself is what's that are helping you. What is interesting, Louise, is what it links onto in the future, which is the Emperor. Now, the Emperor is very, very much a masculine card. So at some point in the future, and I do think that this is more of 3 months onwards, rather than up to 3 months. I think this is more, well into the first quarter of the new year. There is going to be some kind of masculine figure that is going to come into your life that is going to be very important. It can signify a father, husband, lover, but it can also signal brother, uncle, or male friend. But this guy is going to come in to help you with the situation you're going through now. But they're not going to come anytime soon. I'm talking 3 months onwards. And this guy, whoever he is going to be very intrinsic in helping you get through the final bit of what you need to deal with, because you're not over whatever it is you've been dealing with recently in the past. You're not over it fully. You're coping with it at the moment, but you're not over it fully. And this guy who's showing in the future is definitely the one who's going to help you finally clear the cobwebs out and draw a line under it fully. I don't get the feeling it's a father figure, and I don't get the feeling it's a relative. I get the feeling it's either going to be a partner or a male friend. That is the sense I'm getting off the card at the moment. But this person is extremely, like the Queen of Wands, this guy is extremely practical. He's another type who, he's one of them people who say everything runs off them like water off a duck's back. They cut right through any problem right to the source of the problem, and they can see what it is, and they deal with it. But this guy is going to become very, very important to you. I don't know whether it's going to be a romantic attachment, but it will either be a lover or a friend, more so than a father or a male relative. That's the impression I'm getting. It's definitely going to be lover or friend, but definitely male. This help is not going to come from a female. It's definitely coming from a male, and it's definitely coming from a male who knows how to stand on their own 2 feet, and they will cut right through to the art of the matter, and maybe they will give you a little bit of advice that others haven't been giving you, and it may not be pleasant to hear, but it's what you need to hear rather than what you are hearing. Well, it could be your Robbie Louise. I'm getting partner or friend more so than uncle, father, or brother. I'm definitely getting that side of it. But this person is definitely going to tell you what you need to hear rather than what you want to hear, and it may not be pleasant at the time, but it is what you will need to help you finally get through whatever it is you are. Your final outcome is the Page of Wands. Now, the pages to me always signify journeys and moving on. They always do in one way or another. Again, you've got the Wands, which is the physical. So to me, that is saying that maybe there's going to be a lot of movement for you in that area. Values are going to rearrange themselves coming up, and this is going to be the final outcome of what's been going on with all this. Things you believed in before on the physical type of things are going to change. There's going to be an but it's changed for the better because it's the page. Definitely changed for the better. But all these changes are on the physical level. And what's interesting about this reading is 2 of your cards are wands. And I always say whichever suit is most prevalent in a reading is the element of your life that is important. And this is definitely a physical thing. It's not emotional. It's not intellectual. It's definitely a physical. Very much so. And it's not there's nothing to do with the materialistic side of things in this reading at all. This is all about dealing with heartbreak on a physical level. I think you're one of these people who easily deal with heartbreak on an emotional and intellectual level, but your strength comes from the physical level, from your down to earthness, and this is going to cause you to go on to you're going to start a new journey at the end of all this, Louise, definitely. And again, it's going to be a journey on the physical level, more so than the emotional and thing, because I don't think there is actually anything to learn from this situation as such. It ain't one of them situations which is it ain't one of these situations that's a learning experience, emotionally or intellectually, but it is a learning experience on the physical side of things. But that's about the best I can tell you, Louise. So I hope that helped. There you go, Andy. Ooh. Can you just babble for a second while I quickly roll me a cigarette?
Yeah, no worries. Right, so we've got a couple of spaces left. If anybody would like a card reading and was new to the channel, or was, just watching and had one yet, or has been watching for a while, just say you would like one and I'll pop you on list. If not, we'll fill up with some people that's asked, who's had them a few times before. And we're all good. Kat has actually offered to do you a reading, Brett.
Oh, has she?
Yes.
Okay, well, at the end, if I can actually get her to come on, I don't know whether I can pull her into the thing halfway through, but we'll try.
Right, okay.
And she can do me a reading if she wants.
Alright, cool.
I'm quite happy to have a reading done, because I can't read my own, Andy.
Yeah.
I literally, as soon as I lay the cards down, I get nothing off them. It just goes totally blank. Really odd. Yeah. Is everybody sorted for Christmas? Are you sorted for Christmas, Andy?
I'm always sorted.
See, I'm always sorted because one, I don't decorate the house because I don't celebrate Christmas as such.
Same here.
and two, I always give people money, so I don't have to stress about buying anything.
Right.
So I've been sorted for Christmas since last January. And plus, I got to Jason's mum and dad's for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about cooking me Christmas dinner. And plus, Jason's mum's birthday's on New Year's Eve, so and it's his 70th this year, so
Right.
we're having a bit of an important celebration. Right, I'm just shuffling. Who's next, Andy?
Next up is What a Kid, if I've said that right.
Oh, I do hope so, because I always struggle with people with strange names. What a Kid.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Please correct us if we're not saying that right. So if I call you What a Kid and it ain't What a Kid, you'll just have to excuse me.
Alison, you're up next. After this one.
Now this one What a Kid is really interesting because this reading is all about contemplation. This is a really interesting one because it's going swords into it's going intellectual into emotional, then into a major arcana card, and then into the material. But all of them are what I call the contemplation cards. They're all non-movement cards. They're indecisive cards. So this is quite an interesting one. Your first card, which is your recent past, is quite interesting because it's been showing a lot of movement within your intellectual beliefs and stuff. Very similar to what Lindsay's was at the beginning, but yours is more about movement rather than changing. Recently, in the past, there's been a lot of ideas buzzing around in your head. There's been a lot of movement on the intellectual side of things. Maybe even a little bit of a battle with yourself. I won't say to the point of mental illness, but I think there's been points where you may have doubted yourself on that level. Things have seemed to be, just a little bit of a battle, flying around everywhere and not quite sure how to do it. Um, it's a it's a very very funny card. I will say that compared to the other three cards, because your first card is all about busyness and activity on the intellectual side of things, but your next three cards are all radiating um, either contemplation or no movement at all. There's a bit of, well, there's definitely stagnation there because the hangman's turned up, but it's on multiple levels. I don't believe this reading is a past, present, future one. I think this is one of them where all four cards are connected. Um, and I think recently in the past you've had you've had all this movements and stuff, but it's come to the point where you've got all the good ideas, but you haven't got the things in place to help you carry them on. Um, I do feel like recently there's been, you've been getting a little bit of support off family and friends about this. I don't think it's something you should be suffering alone, and I don't think it is, because even though this is a four card reading where they're all talking about the same thing, I still do take into consideration in which order they've dropped, and to me that's saying as of now you do need to, you do need to accept the emotional support of people around you, because I think even on an emotional level, you're not quite sure which way to go. There's just this feeling of contemplation coming off this reading. What a Kid, both emotionally and financially, which is really odd. Which makes me think that you may have a lot of ideas, but on in all levels of your life, you're currently at the point where you've got no real way of moving them forward. But it's definitely saying at the moment, take all the emotional support you can get, because it's definitely saying there is emotional support there for you at the moment, and it is coming from your social circle. So that means family, friends, and acquaintances. It's definitely people you know, and there are people there who, if they're not giving you the support now, they are available to give it to you now, and you may need to turn to them rather than them offering it to you. It's saying don't be afraid to tell people that you need help on an emotional level. I hope that could help. Right, moving into the next bit, the Hangman. This is the one. This is the most worrying card, and it's nothing major, but this is coming as a warning, because I always think 9 times out of 10 the Hangman comes more of a warning. It has to be surrounded by certain cards for me to be an actual prediction. Where this is a warning, not a prediction, and what it's saying is this suspension will carry on unless you do something about it. It will definitely come unless you do something about it. You got to be very, very careful about being too independent, because you will end up stagnating and moving nowhere. You won't move forward emotionally, you won't move forward physically, and you certainly won't move forward financially. There will be this sudden stopping of everything. Everything will stop moving at once. So it could end up as a really bad period in your life if you let it. And I think this is why it's dropped where it has, to tell you, you've got to pay heed to what's going on at the moment, because this is going to be the outcome if you don't do something about it. And it's definitely going back to the last two of keep them ideas going, but you need help with them, because what it's saying on your final card at the end, which is the Seven of Pentacles, is quite a positive card. But again, like the one Lindsay had, it is financial gain, but it's financial gain that requires a lot of effort. It's not. So she's got to take action above, right? Yeah, definitely, Joanne. This is saying that not only has she got to take action, but it's not action solely from herself. There is help externally within the within the social circle of the life that can actually help. This is definitely the opposite of the last two, where it's saying, pulling all the help you can get from people, because otherwise, you're going to end up stuck or feeling like you're stuck. Um, there can be a positive outcome to it though, because you've got the Seven of Pentacles, which is saying that, you know, financial stability is definitely possible, but it's gonna require an incredible amount of effort on your part. It's not just gonna fall into your lap, but you know because it's fell the other side of the hangman, and you've got the help card the other side. It's basically saying that that stagnation is a warning, but there's a solution out of it, and this is going to be the result of it. But you're going to get what you want as long as you're prepared to accept help. This isn't something in life you're going to be able to deal with yourself. What a kid! It is most definitely something you've got to rely on the help of your family, rely on the help of your friends, because this is the way forward for you. It's definitely the way to circumvent that suspension in your life, because otherwise that could occur for for quite a. I ain't saying forever, but it could mean you'd have 6 months in next year where you felt like you were getting nowhere. But you can circumvent that by accepting as much. Oh, thanks, Alison. Accept as much outside help as possible. What a kid, because this is where the secret to your success is going to be into the future. But like I say, it's not all bad, because it is saying, that there's a nice financial ending to this thing, to this line of cards. But it's a financial ending that is only achievable by a lot of hard work. Money is not going to grow on bushes and fall out of trees for you. It's something that you're going to have to work towards, but it's something these people can help you with. So please do, please accept all help offered to you. Please do. Thanks, Jokers. That's about as much as I can say about that. What a kid. But like I say, it is a reading where it's the movement thing that's coming off it, or the lack of it, and the help. The help is the most important thing that's coming through, because it's saying at the beginning, all your ideas are there. They're all in your head, and they're all moving, and they're all on the move constantly. But you need the help of others. One, to get them fixed into a position where they're going to help you. But you also need the help of people to get these ideas moving once you have decided on what you want to do. Because otherwise you're going to enter a stagnant period of your life, and that is something you don't want. But the outcome can be pleasant for you as long as you're prepared to accept that help. That's just a quick summary of it. So I hope that helped. Okay, Andy?
Yeah, very cool. Next up is your friend Alison.
Alison? Okay. Let's see if Alison's bought me a Ferrari for Christmas. It's very dehydrating, Jamie, I'll tell you. You wouldn't believe how dehydrating it is. You're welcome, what a kid. You're very welcome. Right, Alison. All right, Alison, this one's weird, Alison. I'll be honest. This one is really strange. Right, recent past, and straight, Andy, I'm seeing Shadow Man on that card, and I know that sounds really odd, but that is what is bouncing off that card at me. Right, recent past, Alison. I'm getting paranormal connections here. Most definitely paranormal connections, and I'm getting impression that it's something's been going on recently that you're aware of, that is concerning. I know you've heard knockings and stuff in there, but I don't know what else you've heard in there. But this is more of a visual thing. Um, I get the feeling that something's been watching Alison, and I don't mean that in a negative manner. You know, I don't think they're stalking you or being nasty or anything like that. But I do believe that in the recent past, and this is something you're aware of, you've possibly been felt that something has been watching you, um, hidden in the shadows, so to speak. Um, it is a spooky card. It really is a spooky card. This card rarely comes out on anybody's reading, and it always freaks me. This one, it's one of my freaky cards because it's. I always consider this as the hidden observation card, but it's. I do get the impression that it's on. It's on a paranormal level, Alison. Really strange, but I do get the feeling you're aware of it. You're definitely aware of this observation. Something has been watching or observing, but I don't think they've been doing it in a negative manner as such. I just think you've just got someone that likes, and I don't mean rude either. You got someone that likes to watch. Um, no, it's not a neighbour. This is someone else. This is definitely something from another level of existence, most definitely. Um, and moving into your present, I do think it's been causing a little bit of problems with you. Um, Maybe with you, it's causing lack of sleep and stuff because of the awareness of it. I think possibly it may be disrupting your sleep on a night, or you may not be sleeping well thinking about it. But there's definitely some kind of self torture, mentally wise, connected. And I shouldn't really say it like that, but that's the only way I'm thinking of wording it. Um, you're overthinking the situation and letting it over worry you, Alison. And this is occurring around you now. You're at the stage now where you just feel, it's starting to affect you a bit mentally. It's affecting sleep, and it's keeping you up, and you're wondering what it is. I can confirm that whatever it is not negative, Alison. It's definitely not negative. I get the impression it's more inquisitive. And again, it's something that attaches on an emotional level, more so than an intellectual or a physical level. It's more interested in you emotionally than I got a feeling. So then I got no privacy. Yeah, I think they're watching more on. They're observing on an emotional level, Alison, and it could even be a family member. But I think you're getting a bit worried about what or who it is that's going on, and you shouldn't, because it's not a negative. It's not negative. It's inquisitive, and I get the impression it's more concerned about your emotional welfare than you realise, which makes me think it's a family member, Alison. I've just got this impression that a family member's visiting. You're aware of it, but you're misconstruing what it is. You're thinking that it's something else, and possibly you're thinking it's worse than what it actually is. But whatever is there at the moment is visiting you on a concerned level, because it's the emotional side of things. Definitely the emotional side of things, which makes me think family member. I'm definitely getting family member off the card, Alison. So I don't know whether it'll be like grandparent or what, but it's definitely family. It is definitely family who are visiting you, but they're visited. They're not on the physical plane. They're on the spiritual side of things, and you're panicking about it, or overreading it and worrying about it too much. Worrying, maybe they've got ulterior motives when they haven't. Um, Leading up into your future, again, it's the Eight of Cups, which to me it's saying walk away from things emotionally. This is linking back to your present card, which is the intellectual overthinking things, and it's saying, you've got to make peace with this that's going on, Alison. You've got to accept it's happening, because I don't think it's going to stop. But like I say, I don't think it's malevolent. I think it's something that's coming via a family member, and it's out of concern. You've basically got, and I won't say guardian angel because I don't believe in them, but I do believe you've got a family member who's watching over you, just to make sure you're okay. Okay, but the reading is saying you have gotta you've got to accept this on the emotional level. You've got to find your peace with this. It may even be that you need to find your own proof of who it is, most definitely, because until you've got that peace of mind and walk away from the emotional side of it, rather than panicking whenever it happens or being worried about it, you've got to come to terms with the fact that it's somebody who's doing it for a positive thing for you rather than a negative. But and that is coming, Alison, because it's in your immediate future. But I do think it'll take a few months for you to, to come to the understanding. And I do get the impression that whatever it is that's going on will eventually give you the proof you need to give you the peace of mind to move on, sort of thing, and just accept that it's there. And it will allow you to settle down. It will give you that peace of mind you need. Again, your final outcome is saying it's another health. It's the health card, and I always say that the nine of staves is showing an improvement in health. And I think health issues have been connected round emotional and the intellectual at the moment, concerning not just this that's been going on with the feelings of being watched and stuff, but I just think in general there's been a lot of emotional and intellectual turmoil going on at the moment. You've had worries and stuff like that, but it's saying that they are going to be okay, Alison, and your health is definitely going to improve. Once you reach this point, and it's coming within the next 6 months. Once you reach this point of balance, where whatever's going on in your life is accepted, it will also be a benefit to your health. Your health will stabilise because, regardless of what people think, your emotional and and your intellectual well-being do impact on your physical well-being. And this is what this reading's saying. You're going to get that balance. You're gonna sort yourself out. You're gonna know where you are with things. You're gonna be at a point of acceptance. And when you reach to the point where you think, yeah, this is happening, that's happening, I'm thinking this, I'm thinking that, and I accept it, and you can walk away from it all without having to worry about it. That is when you're gonna hit the point where health is going to improve for you, because I do believe that health is linked very importantly with you to not only both your intellectual levels, but also to your emotional levels, and that is the balance you've got to find. But you are going to find it, Alison. Do you want me to pass you a drink over, lol? No, you're all right, Alison. Cheers. But yeah, there's definitely an improvement in health coming, Alison. But there's also going to be this coming to terms with things, and there's going to be a balancing of the emotional and the intellectual. The mental and the emotional, and that is going to help you physically with your health. But whatever this thing is that's recently been happening, this is a feature that's been playing its part. But don't worry about it, because what I'm getting off these cards is it's actually a family member who is coming to watch over you, or just to check in on you to make sure you're okay. So there's nothing dark or nasty going on. There's it's definitely a family member who's coming to just to keep an eye on you. Okay, Alison. Hope that helped. Right. Every time I do a reading, my cigarette goes out, Andy.
Was it?
Yeah. So I have to do it again.
Yeah, we've got to do it again.
Next up is Jane. Okay. I'll tell you, people don't realise how much this takes out of you, because you're just standing here, constantly babbling. It's total mental concentration, because you're constantly staring at the cards. And honestly, Andy, I'm drained at the end of it. I'd just like to sit down and chat after that.
Yeah.
How many have we done?
This is number 6.
Oh, we ain't doing too bad then.
Yeah.
Why does what freak her out? No, don't freak me out. It wears me out. I end up croaking like a frog. Oh, Jesus. Oh, thank God that's there.
Uh,
Oh, wow. Right, Jane. This reading's telling me you're somebody who's been through the ringer, literally. Um, there's been recent past is the tower now, as anybody will tell you on here. I hate the tower popping up in anybody's reading normally. There's very few times that this card appears where you can say anything negative about it, anything positive about it. It is, for me, one of the most negative cards in its pure form, but it can be diluted from different things. And what that's saying to me is recent past there has been some kind of destruction, some extremely severe breakdown of something, a total blowing away of something that's recently happened in your past, totally out of the blue, totally unexpected, and totally destructive. Almost like I always picture it as like a whirlwind. Um, I ain't getting at the moment whether it's to do with physical, material, or financial or whatever yet. I've got a feeling it may be health because you've got the King of Wands next to it, but I ain't sure because I've got a feeling that the two middle cards are connected, and I don't think your tower is. But there's definitely this destruction, Jane, and it was massive destruction. It is like imagine you've had an hurricane in your life is the best way of saying it, um, and it was something you didn't see coming. You really did not see this coming. It wasn't something that built up over a period of time. It was something that was just not there 1 minute and then wham, the next there it was, and it was a life changer, most definitely. And this reading, I'm telling you, is all about movement. This the after effects of this this tower card is reverberating right through the other three. Um, there's there's a man connected some way currently now concerning this situation. There's something to do with a male that is now connected into it, and again, I'll describe it as a man who's very down to earth, a very common sense type sort of man. A bloke who's more about common sense than he is about intellect or emotional. Now, when I say that, I always that is the royal cards always define their main trait. It doesn't necessarily mean they're lacking in others, but what the ones do signify common sense and people who are grounded. And this person is linking in. Is linking in with this destruction. Now I don't know whether he was a part of it or he's come as a result of it, but he's definitely linked to it at the moment, Jane, and he's definitely very, very prominent at the moment. The connection with this thing is all around him at the moment. It's pointing to him. Um, oh, I don't know why, but I keep thinking partner or friend, partner or friend. There's something to do with partner or friend, most definitely. Um, and they're forcing right. Okay, there's some kind of decision there linked to them, Jane. Honestly, this reading is wild. It is absolutely wild. It is all over the place. Because it's linking into the Two of Swords again. It's like a decision. There's a decision connected with this man that is basically based on blind faith, and I really can't narrow down what it is. you've got to make some kind of blind faith, and it is linking back through the last two cards. It is linking back through that guy to the destruction, and this is leading you now to a point just coming up, and this is in the new year. You know, I'd say within the next 2 months, 3 months, but definitely within the next six. That this guy is going. There's going to be some. There's going to be some decision that you need to make regarding this guy, and you have not got the information where you can make a definitive decision one way or the other. It's going to literally be going on blind faith, most definitely. There's going to be no help one way or the other because it's linked to the Chariot. I don't think either way is going to be bad, but one is definitely going to be better than the other. What it is also saying is that this decision is going to be your decision and not theirs. So I don't know whether you can understand that or not, but this is a decision that you've got to make on your own. There is no right or wrong with it, Jane. There's really no right or wrong decision decision to make here, but it's going to be a multiple choice type thing. There's a number of pathways leading off here, but none of them are clear. None, you know, a lot of times you have a decision and you know where you know, well, if I do that, this is going to happen, but if I do that, that's going to happen. This is one of those decisions where, regardless of which choice you make, you're not gonna you're not going to have any guidance with it at all, Jane. There's no light at the end of the tunnel you can see regarding any, and I don't mean that negatively. It's just that you can't see where these decisions are going to lead you eventually. So you're just going to have to make one. I would advise you go, you know, with your common sense and not fly off in, you know, do not let others influence you regarding this decision. That's the important thing that's coming through. But it is definitely linked to this man and this recent upheaval, Jane. They are definitely concerning them. And I can't tell you what to do regarding the decision because you've got the Two of Swords. And to me, that is always making a decision on blind faith. What I will say, leading to the Chariot, it's interesting, especially linked next to the Two of Swords, because the Chariot, if you look at the two Sphinxes, one is black and one is white. So that tells me that the decisions, one of them is going to be better than the other, right? But I can't tell you which is which. I don't think either of them are going to be overly negative, but one of them is definitely going to be so much better than the other one. There is going to be a lot of movement in the future for you, Jane. And I even think this could be physical movement, even to as far as saying moving property. That card is definitely screaming movement on all levels, Jane. But the Chariot does always signify that it's movement that you control, which is signified by the guy holding the reins on the Watsy. The Sphinxes in this, they can signify a number of things. They can either signify good and bad, or things pulling in different directions, or the other thing they signify is the result of a decision. And because it's linked, to that Two of Swords, I do believe that those two Sphinxes are linking directly to that decision with two outcomes you've got, and one is definitely better than the other one, put it that way. But everything surrounding you, Jane, is movement. Everything is movement. It's an amazing reading in one way, because it's just like the sea rolling in and out constantly. There's just no way of stopping it. But it is gonna, whatever decision you make is gonna, it's gonna be a total change for you for what you're doing now and where you are now. I would even go as far to say that it could even instigate a possible house move, if you understand what I'm saying. I ain't saying it definitely will, but it's that much level of movement in this reading. That's what it could possibly be. But on all levels of your life, this is gonna be constant movement, a complete changing of everything. But you're going to be in control of it. You're definitely going to be your own helmsman, without a doubt. Um, so that's all I can tell you at the moment. Just please think of whatever this decision is that's coming up, and it's coming in the next 6 months, Jane. Just think about it carefully. There's going to be no easy choice regarding it, but I do get the feeling it's not a total blind choice. I think if you apply a bit of common sense to it, I think you'll be able to work out for yourself which is the right way to go. So I hope that helps you, Jane. I know it sounds a bit scatty, but all I'm getting with it is this destruction at the beginning and the end, and it ends with just constant movement, literally constant movement. But it's positive. It's positive movement at the end, Jane. It's not negative, because it's showing you're definitely in control of it. So I hope that helps. Right, let's get my cards back. Exactly, life is too short to argue and fight, Johan. That's exactly right. Thanks for your input, Kaya. Oh. I'm looking forward to Cat reading mine.
She said she might have to do it next time. She's on a mission, she said.
Oh, right.
Yeah. She ain't been in chat for a while.
You're welcome, Jane. Who's next, Andy?
Next is Little Snails.
Little snails, did you say?
Or Lil Snails.
Snails?
Snails, yeah.
As in shells and...
I think so.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I've read that right.
If I start calling somebody little snails and they're not called little snails...
Or is it Smalls? I'm telling you, I need glasses. It's Smalls. I need glasses. Oh, sorry about that. Little Smalls.
I thought little snails sounded a bit odd.
It's because text that far away from me. It's tiny. Oh dear.
Little snails.
One down to Andy, that one,
Yeah. Somebody could call themselves little snails, but...
I think they should change the name.
It's going to make me cough now, laughing.
I thought it was some sort of like snail keeper channel or something.
Andy, can you just talk a sec? I've just had a message off Jason. He needs to phone urgently.
Yeah, no problem.
Alright, sorry about this, folks.
It's alright. Right, so after Little Snails, I'm keeping your name to... You'll always be known as Snails to me. Right? We've got Rose up next, and then we have got 2 slots open. So, we will go Nikki, and then... Is Jamie still in chat? I think Jamie might have departed. Yeah, Jamie is no longer in. And Stephen asked, Stephen, are you still in chat? Yeah, Stephen still in chat, so we'll put your name down.
Sorry about that, Andy.
Yeah, it's alright.
Apparently, we're all a subject of a stream, so
Yes, I have. I have heard.
let him get on. Right. Little snails, smalls. Sorry about that. Oh, this is an interesting one. Ooh. Right. Past. You've got the Three of Pentacles. Now, I always see this as some kind of change in finances concerning a group of people. More than two. Where it is really odd. Oh, Jesus. Because it's what it's linking to that's making it really strange. It's something on a material level that it's a material gain, but it's concerning more than one person, and it's something that's recently happened. Cool. Is it okay if ETA can jump in, Nikki? John hasn't had one yet. I don't know what this is, Lil Smalls, but it's definitely something in your recent past that has been of a financial nature, and I think it's within the family. So I don't know whether there's been some kind of financial worry regarding the family, or whether there's been some kind of inheritance within the family. But it's definitely recent past. Most definitely recent past. It's a really odd one because linking into your present, it's the Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Swords to me always indicates overburdening yourself, or trying to take too much on an intellectual level. So this is something to do with possibly finances in the family that have recently gone on, that have caused you some kind of worry, or made you feel that maybe you should take responsibility for them when you shouldn't. And I'll tell you what's really interesting about this reading. What's really interesting is three of the cards of Pentacles. So this is definitely Lil Smalls. This is definitely a reading revolving around finances. So to me, I'll tell you what I'm getting off it as. Again, I don't think it's a past, present, future thing. I do think all these are linked, and this is something to do with a financial situation. And I think, recently there's been some kind of worry within the family because it's a group of people to do with finances. Or maybe you felt somebody has been taking over finances when they shouldn't have been, because it's linking into the Seven of Swords, which to me is always a worry card. There's some kind of worry, there's some kind of overburdening yourself here, or taking too much on regarding finances. It is a funny one. This is a really funny one, Lil Smalls, because these cards are so disjointed. It's unbelievable. They're not flowing. I believe they're connected, but they're not flowing, if you know what I mean. It's like there's a disjointed story here in some way or other. I'm a nice Welsh. I'm sorry, I was reading the chat. There's definitely finance. It's finances all the way through, because leading on from the overburdening, you've then got the Four of Pentacles, which again to me is somebody controlling finances. So and you're stuck in the card that's showing the worry. They're stuck in the middle. Now I don't know, Little Smalls, if this person's you or if it's somebody within your family, but there's definitely worry regarding financial aspects, because there's money control all the way through this reading, and finally ending with juggling your finances to be very, balancing the books sort of thing. But sometimes when you say the material, it don't always necessarily mean money. It could mean anything material wise. You know, it could be property, it could even be an inheritance. But there's some kind of interference going on here, and it's all around money, Lil Smalls, and I can't tell you why. Um, it may not be finances as such; it's material. You know, it's something material. Um, but I ain't getting that it's actually you. I ain't getting that you're represented by the Seven of Swords. It could be somebody else, but it connects to you. Well, that is what it could be, but it's a material thing. Smalls, it ain't coming across as it ain't coming across as a physical, and it's certainly not coming across as an intellect. Well, the intellectual card is. There is a bit of an intellectual balance going on there, or a bit of an intellectual struggle. But I am not getting that it could be you, but I ain't saying 100% certain it is. But whatever it is, it's definitely interference with something on the material level. A twin flame. I don't know what a twin flame is. It's because I'm trying to, as far as love myself and life. This is material, little smalls. This is definitely not saying it's emotional, um, and it's definitely not saying it's physical. It is most definitely something on um, the material level, because you've got three pentacles out of four in this thing, and when you get that many, that is definitely the main focus, sort of thing. Most definitely the main focus. But there's this swirling around you that there's something's already happened concerning financing. Something, or the material. There's something materialistic that has happened recently, and it's within the family. It's a group of people. It is most definitely be. Now, Joanne, this is some. It's definitely some more than a bill, because it's so consistent all the way through the reading. But what it is saying is, see, with your present card, Little Smalls, you may not be actually aware of it now, but it's what is about to happen. So you may not be aware of it now, but whatever is starting this off has definitely already happened. It has most definitely already happened, and it is something on a material level, and it is something to do with the family. You know, and when I say your family, I don't know whether you're married or what, but it could be like your outer family, like brothers, sisters, you know, that kind of thing. But it's definitely, it could even be inheritance, Iggy. You know, because I do say that card does sometimes signify, you know, gaining some money somewhere. But it's definitely, there's definitely some kind of, there's some kind of gain or loss concerning the material with your family that has already happened. But whatever it is, somebody is worrying a lot over it, right? So it's gonna be more your outer family then, rather than a partner, you know, husband or wife type thing. But it's definitely family, and it's definitely material, and somebody at the moment is is about to be very worried about it, and it's going to cause them a lot of stress. What it's saying is, going into the future, on a material level, you are going to need to seek advice from somebody. You need to, this person, whoever's worrying, and like I say, I ain't 100% certain it's you, but it's either you or somebody very close to you, needs to seek the advice of somebody who knows what they're talking about when it comes to materialistic matters. Okay? But it might not be money, but it's something materialistic. It's most definitely materialistic. It's not any of the other levels. It's definitely materialistic. And this person, there's going to be a person brought in, or you need to bring a person in who knows what they're doing on a material level. So be that, you know, a banker, a lawyer, whatever. Legal advice, yeah, basically legal advice. There's definitely going to be legal advice sought in the future, because this is a serious materialistic matter, Lil Smalls. It definitely is, you know, and the final outcome is that things are going to balance out, you know, but it's not going to happen. Now, no, me, to be honest with you, because it is such a disjointed reading. It is a really, really strange reading. This one, um, but it's definitely all warning about because your final outcome is balancing the material. That is your final outcome. The two. So to me, it's warning about things on a materialistic level. So whatever it is, it's already started. Little Smalls. Somebody is worried or is about to get very worried about it. You need to get advice off somebody to help with it, but it will lead out to, there will be balance at the end of it. It will work out okay, but, it is going to be a balancing act. Can I get a do-over, lol? Lil Smalls, that is one of the weirdest readings I have ever done. Honestly, that is one of the weirdest I have ever done. It's just, and the fact is, I ain't even 100% certain it relates directly to you, but more so to the family as a whole. To me, that's the impression I get. It's more of a relation to the family as a whole, not specifically just to you. But it's something that's going to affect the whole family. But, little snail. But I hope that helps. Let me know in a couple of months if anything comes to light. But that, if you wanted me to do another one next week, I'll do one next week and see. Probably the week after, to be honest, because next week's Christmas, isn't it? And New Year. But that is definitely. I'll be honest, Lil Smalls. That is definitely one of the weirdest readings I have ever done, because that was so disjointed. It was unbelievable. But I'm definitely getting the impression it's not just you. It's a family matter. It's definitely a family matter. So sorry that don't come out very clear to you at the moment, but just let me know, because I think at some point it will. Hopefully, when we do the next readings next time, it will get one that narrows more down on you. But I've got absolutely no control on what comes out with these cards. I'll just put them down and then I'll just tell you what bounces off the cards at me. And at the moment, it is definitely family finances that are coming off them cards. And that's all I can tell you. I will do. Thanks, Lil Smalls.
Very strange.
That was a weird one, Andy. Honestly, that is one of the weirdest readings I've ever done.
Yeah, it might be a thing that might be semi-upcoming. Like it's very close by.
But see the problem with the material side of things, and especially where families is concerned, they don't always reveal straight away to everybody in the family what's going on until it hits the point where they need to. But that was saying to me that there's definitely, and it may not be money, but it's definitely materialistic. Whatever it is, it's materialistic. There were 3 pentacles in that reading.
I mean, if something were to come out of it, I would like to know if they'd come back and tell us.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that was definitely a funny one.
Yeah.
Most definitely a funny one.
So next up is Rose.
Rose. Is she still here?
She were here for tagging her name in, yeah, so...
Okay. Are you definitely still here, Rose?
I'll give her a little dinging messenger.
Yeah, see if she's still here. Socks
She's
will.
online.
Yes, Iggy Haunted House, Rose. Okay, thanks, Lil Smalls. Oh, that's funny. You called her little snails.
Can't believe that.
You got nature on the brain.
I know.
So it don't look like Rosie's still here, does it?
Well, she's online. She ain't looked at the message yet. She's gone back offline.
Right, do you want to see us next, and if it comes back on, as soon as it comes on, I'll do us
Yeah,
following.
well, go to John from ETA Paranormal.
Right, okay. Oh, this one's interesting. Two major arcana in the middle. Right, John. Past is an interesting one because it's the Ace of Pentacles again, and again this is recent business activities, or the start of recent business activities. So definitely, I think in the recent past there's been some plans going on for things on a financial or material. I'll say material level because when I say financial, people always think, when they see coins, they think the money. But I think in this case it is more to do with money. There's been recently, and I think this ties into Lindsay's, because Lindsay had got roughly the same here. It's to do with planning for things on a financial level, and these have been really, really important recently in the past. All these new ideas and stuff have been discussed recently in the past, and I think this links into Lindsay's reading, which is really interesting because it's definitely showing all this movement regarding the start of a new financial planning. It's definitely beginnings. The Ace of Pentacles, or well, the Ace of any suit, always indicates the beginnings of, and then depending on what suit it is to what beginnings it actually is. And this is definitely the planning for a new new business venture or something that's going to help you on a financial level has definitely been very significant and important in the recent past. What is interesting, moving into the present, we've got strength, which is one of the major arcana cards, and I always say wherever a major arcana card pops up, this is where it's pointing to a particular area that's important, and you've got strength. Now, strength to me always signifies that there's maybe a little bit of a battle going on. And this is linking to these business propositions. So there's a little bit of a struggle here. So linking with Lindsay, I think there may be slightly differing ideas on things, but there's this little bit of a tussle going on before you finally settle on what you want to do. And disagreement is never a bad thing on things like this, and it's not disagreement in a bad way, but I think at the moment there's maybe slightly differing opinions. You may be going down the same path, but there's slightly different things on how you want to get there, and this little bit of a struggle that's going on with you at the moment is significant. But what it's saying is it's nothing to worry about because it's not linked to. That's it. Lindsay's going to make the money and John's going to decide what to spend it on. I do think that whatever it is financial, there has been. You've both got your. That's normal. I don't take no. There has been slightly differing opinions on what to do here, but it's nothing. I don't mean that in a negative manner. It's just that there's been varying ideas, but I do think you're both on the same path. But you've got different ideas on how you want to get there slightly. And I think John is considered. I've got to watch what I say here. I think John's considering it a little bit more of a battle than Lindsay is. Let's put it that way, because it's come up with strength. So I think maybe John is what this card's telling you, John, is maybe there's certain things that you need to give way to Lindsay on, but there are certain things concerning what you've got planned that you need to put your foot down with and stand your ground, because a couple of these are going to be really important, and I get the impression off the cards that your way on a few of the matters will probably be slightly better than Lindsay's ideas on them. So what this card's telling you is there's got to be a little bit of give and take in this situation. In this situation, so just be aware of it. It's nothing to fall out over, and I don't think it's anything major or anything like that. It's just saying and highlighting the fact that there are alternative paths here, and a couple of them, John. You need to put your foot down. You've got to put your foot down, John, and say no. I want to do it this way, and this is the way we're going to do it. Because otherwise, if you take Lindsay's way, it ain't saying they won't work, but your way is probably a better solution. But on the flip side of that, there's things that, on the flip side, John, there is things that Lindsay will have a better idea on. So this card is just saying give and take, but be prepared to stand your ground when you're certain that your way is the best way. Right. Now this leading on to the Fool is really interesting because this is your immediate future, and this is signifying that you're about to go on an entirely new journey into the unknown, and it is blatantly linking back to these last two cards. And it's not a negative thing. It doesn't mean be quiet when you're using the spirit box. Hi Deb, I didn't realise Deb had come in. Hello Deb. What it is saying, John, is you're definitely on the brink, and not right now, but coming up in the next couple of months, you're definitely starting on a new journey, because the Fool is classed as card number 0 in the deck, and it signifies going on a journey into the unknown. What it also does say, though, is be careful when you set off on this journey that you've got everything in check, and that you don't just blindly walk off the cliff into the unknown, because it does signify a journey into the unknown, but it also comes with the little warning of make sure you watch where you tread when you start on this journey. The little dog always indicates that there's a guardian there who's helping. So basically, don't take this the wrong way, Lindsay, but that little dog is representing you in this card, because it's saying John's going on, you're going on this journey, but there is somebody in the background, advising John that precipice is there, so be careful and don't walk blindly off it. And that is showing that, it is a good partnership, but it's also showing that it's a journey you're both going on together. And it's a totally new thing, whatever it is. Whatever these decisions are you make, it's a totally new journey for you. It is the start of, it is the beginnings of something new. My protector is a dog. Now the dog is there just to symbolise that, there's a guardian that the Fool ain't going to blindly walk off without being warned. That is what it's saying. And again, in your final outcome, it's linked up really nice again, because we've started on Pentacles and we've finished on Pentacles. And again, it's the Page, which to me is always a sign of battling on and movement. So what it's saying is, it's not going to be a bed of roses. It is something you're going to have to work at. But because it's so high up in the Pentacle level, it's pretty, technically card number 11 in the Pentacle suit. It is going to be really, it is going to be successful. It's not going to turn you into millionaires, obviously, but it is whatever it is, there is a sound financial standing there, and there's going to be a lot of movement coming up in that respect from this new journey you're going on. But overall, John, these cards are saying to me, you've got to have give and take in it. One or the other cannot lead this journey totally. This has definitely got to be a journey of give and take, and that is why you've got two major arcana cards that have dropped in your present and your future, to signify that now and what's coming up is going to be important. And the fact you've got Strength is the one that tells you give and take, give and take. There's definitely got to be give and take. It cannot be driven by one of you or the other. It's definitely got to be a partnership moving forward. Most definitely. The tentacle in the last card being small. now the page is always a good sign, on material things. To be honest with you, there's very few negative ones in the Pentacles. As long as they ain't surrounded by certain other cards, then obviously they get a bit more negative depending on what's random. But it's definite. Like Lindsay's reading. It's a very similar reading, John. It's definitely all about financial and material movement. But from your side of things, it's saying that you've got to give and take. But there's got to be times when you put your foot down and say no. It's got to be done this way, and then there's got to be other times where you've got to bite the bullet and accept the fact that Lindsay's going to be right. So I hope that helped. I understand that it's Lindsay that needs to realise it's give and take. Little tentacle, correct, John. Oh, God, Andy. Are you still there, Andy? Hang on, because we've lost Andy and I don't know who's next. Andy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Alright, probably tickled me that did. He's never ever going to live it down.
Well, when you make those kind of admissions on, public social media, it's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it?
Little snail, little tentacle, what's going on? Right, last one at night then.
Okay.
Is gone on to Stephen.
Stephen, right, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, God, here we go again with the Wheel of Fate.
It's back.
Oh, interesting. Stephen's got 3. Right, Stephen. Again, I don't think this is a past, present, and future. I think this is a 4-card link reading. What it's saying is love is going to become important in your life pretty soon. I don't know whether you're seeing anybody or not. Yeah, naked people, Iggy, don't get excited. But definitely your mind's turning towards more of the romantic side of things. And the cards are suggesting that this is literally, if you excuse, first thing, I've knocked out the relationship on the head. It's definitely on your mind at the moment, is what it's saying. If you excuse the expression, it's saying romance is on the cards. Is basically what the card's saying. Romance is definitely going to become important to you in the near future. What is really interesting, who's the dog this time above? Now the dog was on the Fool. What is really important, what is really funny, Stephen, is the fact that it's linked to the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this to me makes me think that you are a little bit worried of taking a chance on love, is what it's saying. You're a little bit worried about taking the chance that it'll either work or it won't. And I think this could be an obstacle. This could be an obstacle to you at the moment, but you're making it an obstacle. It's not, the relationship itself isn't the problem. It's your head or you as a person worrying on, taking that leap of faith and going for it. And what is interesting is because it's linked the other side to the Two of Swords, which again is the blind decision. And I think that's just reinforcing the Wheel of Fortune and the Lovers. So basically what it's saying here is that there's definitely relationship either on the go now or it's about to become important to you. But you are holding back because you are frightened to take this leap of faith and take a chance on this relationship, which you shouldn't, because from what these cards are saying, there is no problem with the actual relationship itself. The problem is coming from you being too frightened to do anything. You know, it almost feels like you're holding back when you should be pushing forward. You know, there's unnecessary hesitation there that you're putting in. You're putting barriers up for yourself, and you shouldn't be. Is basically what those two cards are saying. The third card is saying that you do take a chance with love anyway. You never know which way it's going to go. You cannot foresee which way a relationship's going to go, and that is why the third card is showing the blind decision, where you got the two swords showing the two ideas, but the woman herself holding the swords is blindfolded and can't see the outcome, sort of thing. And this is what it's saying, and this is what's telling me that you are the problem, not the relationship. You are putting barriers up that you shouldn't. You really should take the chance and push yourself forward and push this relationship forward, and don't worry about what fate's going to do about it, because ultimately it's down to you and whoever it is you're in the relationship with. Right. The final outcome, I think, is an advisory, which is strength, and I think in this respect, I think this card is coming exactly as it says, and it's saying you've got to find the strength to take that chance, Stephen. You've got to wrestle with your demons. Oh God, I'm saying demons on the channel, Andy.
Demons.
You've got to wrestle with your Desmonds, and you've got to take the chance, Stephen, because this is saying to me that this is all down to you. The failure or success of this relationship is down to you. There's no outside influences. The only person causing the problems in terms of this relationship is well and truly you. And that's exactly what it is, Iggy. It's a fear of getting hurt. He's a fear of taking the chance and going for it, and he's worried about what the decision will do. But the last card is telling you, Stephen, you've definitely got to. It's a demon, yeah. You've definitely got to wrestle your demon, Stephen, and you've got to have the strength, and you've got to have the self-confidence to just think bugger it and go for it. It's as simple as that, because what it's saying is the only one who can carry you into this relationship with out a problem. He's actually doing quite well on this one, Nicky. I've got to be honest. He's been quite insightful on this reading. It is you, Stephen. You're the problem, and only you can take these barriers away. Only you can take these barriers away. So, go for it, because there's a chance there's no guarantees in life with anything, Stephen, but don't put barriers there that don't need to be there. That's what the reading's saying. Bite the bullet, find the self-confidence, and just go for it. Take that leap of faith, because you'll never know one way or the other. So, I hope that helped. Did that go? Oh, we didn't go too bad. We've done an hour and 3/4. So, yeah. Is there anything? Right, we'll just have a general chat now. And it gives me a chance to roll a cigarette. I hope you all enjoyed that. Really interesting night. I've got to be honest, that little small reading, Andy, it just totally threw me. Because there was no connection with it between the cards. Normally, I look at the cards and I can think, oh yeah, that connects to that, connects to that, connects to that. There was nothing. It was just so disjointed. But as I was, as I was reading it, little things, I was getting little things, but it was definitely a family thing. And I think, it's more difficult when what you're telling somebody isn't actually directly them, sort of thing. But it's within that, when it's a family thing, it's a bit more difficult, because some things reference other people and not them, and that's why they don't tie in as well. But I do believe that there's something going on there with the family, and I suspect probably that nothing's been said yet, so Lil Smalls ain't aware of it. But somebody's definitely worried about something. They just need to take the advice, and things will work out for them. But I think most of them tonight have been fairly positive readings.
Yep.
You know, even Lil Smalls one wasn't a negative one. It was just,
No, no,
saying,
yeah.
just make sure you get advice and things will be okay. Yeah, Stephen, that was literally what that reading was saying, especially in terms of relationships. You are your own worst enemy. That was exactly what it was saying. And you've really got to bite the bullet and go for it. Yeah, but I enjoyed them, and it was nice to do them on at the start of Yule, because for people who don't know, today is officially the first day of Yule.
Yep.
It follows the winter. I mean, you said the summer solstice. Then I wish. It follows the winter solstice. Yesterday was the shortest day and the longest night. So now we're considered into the wheels turning again, and we're now coming towards the light again. We're coming out of the darkness and into the light.
Yay.
Yay! Because I ain't a big fan of dark nights, I've got to be honest. The sooner they bugger off, the better. But yeah, we've actually hit the turning point of the year now. Andy actually went and did his workshop yesterday. I was really peed off because I had a migraine. Yes, I've still got a bit of an headache now, but it's going. Because they normally linger for about 2 days with me.
Yeah.
But it ain't nothing major. And I was really peed off because I wanted to stock my tea up.
Becky poured it all down.
Oh, that devastated me when you told me that yesterday. That was absolutely devastating. And they made some beautiful Christmas baubles and wreaths and stuff. If you go on the Barnsley Moot page, you'll actually see the stuff they did, and they're absolutely gorgeous, some of them. Is there anything you want to discuss, Andy? Please say there is, so I can have a smoke and give my voice a rest.
I don't know. Let's do some questions in chat, I think.
Go on then.
Let somebody.
Right, do you want to throw some questions at Andy for the next couple of minutes so I can have a smoke in peace? Lindsay's upset she was looking for the life insurance documents, but I'm safe for now, lol. REMPod 1, Cat 0. Cat just had the fright of its life with the REMPod on. Can you read these out, Andy? I've never smoked them.
You are.
You can read some of these out. Does anybody want to ask Andy anything? Ask him somewhere about the Fae, because he can talk about the Fae forever.
He can.
I thought of another question for you yesterday, and I've totally forgotten. It was a really good question as well, and I've totally forgot what it was.
Oh, you need a book to write this down.
Oh, no, I should do. I really should do. Andy, are you going back to Elos after the new year?
Yes, we should be. I'm planning on taking Ellen with us this time.
Yay!
She wants to go and have a look at it as well. She was rather impressed. And obviously, Mark Vernal will be wanting to go back. I'm still waiting for Mark's video. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, when did he say it was coming on? A couple of days, he said, didn't
A
he?
few days, yeah. Hopefully it'll not be too long away. But yeah, I'm definitely wanting to go back because I think there's more that we can do there. Obviously it got cut short, so...
Go on.
I was just going to say there's rest of the house to cover yet, you know.
How many rooms did you actually cover while you were there?
We did, like, all the way from kitchen to living room. And the living room, that were it.
And how many rooms is there altogether?
Wow, there's a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
All right.
7 rooms, and then one of the major ones for me was conservatory.
Well, what goes on in there?
Well, that's where a lot of them little blue imps, as Rose calls them,
Oh,
what we'd call elves.
Yeah, that'll be interesting if
Yeah.
it's claiming there's little blue imps in there.
Because there used to be a big hanging tree, apparently, in there, what they used to hang people off.
Oh, and that's where the conservatory is now.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be interesting. Oh, good, we got some questions. What height is a brownie?
A brownie in its usual state, like its usual form, although it'll be no bigger than around 5 to 6 inches, but they can project a lot bigger. You know, we have being energy
Yeah.
based,
Did
kinda.
talking about the heights of things? Did you watch that Help My House is Haunted thing the other night I told you about?
No, no,
Right, now
no.
I watched it, and they had a medium in there who claimed he saw it. Saw one of them in a room, and he claimed it was about 4 feet high. But he
Right.
also claimed it was red, and it was like part insect, part reptilian looking. It was quite
Okay.
interesting, the picture he drew of it.
Right.
But, is it possible they can look? I presume they can project 4 feet tall if they wanted to.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But he said it was crouched in the doorway. I meant to tell you about that. Um,
Right.
Nikki Nu says she really enjoyed. Oh, hang on, I've missed some. Stephen says, "How do the Fae react to cats?" Oh, that's an interesting one.
They're absolutely fine with cats. I mean, they're fine with most animals because animals are a part of nature, just like we are really.
Yeah.
But you'll find that cats can react weird to them,
Mhm.
dependent. But back in the day, witches didn't have cats for out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were an handy tool to let people know because they're very susceptible cats
Mhm. To
to
what?
any sort of paranormal.
Right.
Like if they're very good at see. It's something to do with the visual, isn't it? Because they can slow down
Yeah.
the targets and stuff with their eyes, because their eyes can change form, and
Mhm.
and I think that is a logical reason why witches used cats
Yeah.
to be able to tell when something were present in houses and what have you.
Right. Okay. So they're okay. Cats are okay with the Fae.
Yeah.
Right. Joanne says, "Did you do Grumpy's room?" I nearly misread that wrong. Then I'm glad I
Uh,
put the room bit in. Did you do Grumpy's room, Andy?
we left a motion detected like game cam in that room,
Mhm.
in hopes that catching anything like sort of moving around, but we got nothing. There were no motion detected in there.
Right.
I think that was for about like two hours we left it
Right.
in there.
Yeah, but there was
We did
nothing.
plan on physically going in and doing some
Yeah.
calling out and stuff, but we never got round to it.
Do you think Grumpy's more of an interactive than just an hanging around type of thing? You think you get more results if you're actually in there interacting
Yeah,
with him rather than just
yeah,
expecting him
yeah. I
to?
would imagine so. Yeah, because like I say, I think that's who we're talking at some point on REM.
Mhm.
Which means he'll have been downstairs and not upstairs.
Right. Okay. Here's a really interesting one off the bat, man. Are there Fae associated with different seasons?
Yes, some are, but well, they're not like they'll not pop up in seasons and then you'll not see them in others. But there is a migration that happens with some of them. They'll move
Mhm.
around,
Right.
and you'll find that the spring months is their most sleepiest month
Right.
because they are working a lot, on doing stuff.
Mhm.
So we call it sleepy, but it's more they're too busy
Yeah.
to interact with us, if you will.
Right. Do you think they're hibernating, or do you think they're off doing something else somewhere?
No, I think they're usually just far too busy to, you know, because it's like start of everything growing back,
The
and
build
you
up for
know,
spring.
yeah, it's a really odd time frame.
Right. Okay, coke. Iggy says, "What evidence is there for a hanging tree at El's house?" I don't know whether Andy can answer that one, Iggy. That would
I
probably
can't
better
answer that at all.
that'd be better a question for Rose.
Yeah.
Um, Iggy's got a lot of questions. How tall is an elf?
um, Generally, around between 3 foot to 5.5, 6 foot.
So they're basically human sized.
Yeah.
And are elves the ones that are more liable to appear people mistake as shadow men, do you think?
The taller ones, yeah, because there is apparently such I have had an EVP before saying dark elf,
Right.
and I think it's the darker elves that appear as shadow men. especially since every elf wears an hat,
Yeah.
and the old hat man thing
Yeah.
can
So,
cross,
what kind of hat do they wear? Is it like a gnome's hat, or is it more like a hood?
No, it's more flatter at top.
Right.
Um,
Like a fez?
with a little bit, but with a little bit of a brim.
Right. A bit
And
like a
the
witch
brim.
hunt. A bit like a witchfinder general type hat.
Uh, not as tall. I think they vary. A lot of people depict them a little bit. I mean, because like some woodland elves, the
Yeah.
smaller normal ones are quite similar to the old Robin Hood, Peter Pan style hats
Right.
they wear.
Yeah.
But we have got a couple of pictures of some elder woodland elves with really odd shaped flat hats on.
Right.
Not really tall, but really flat with a little bit of a brim.
Mhm.
Yeah. So hats are a big thing in all nature spirit fair realm. They seem to be a big thing.
Well, the red caps are named after theirs, ain't they?
Yeah, and then you've got the gnomes with the conical
Yeah.
hats, and it does seem to be a big thing that a lot of them do wear an hat.
Yeah. Right. Another one off Iggy. Why does Rose call? I think he means why does Rose call a fat arse and has she seen her?
Uh, she says she's seen fat ass lady, but we
Right.
don't know. She says she calls it fat ass lady because she's got a fat ass.
Well, yeah,
But
has
just as
repeatedly
simple as
stated that.
yeah, just as simple as that. But I can't tell you any more uh, than that. Really, again, that's questions for Rose, not for
Yeah.
me.
Right. I think you need to draw up a size chart because Iggy wants to know how tall a pixie is.
Right. Again, very small. If we we might be looking at about what maximum height, 12 inch, I reckon.
So again, nothing overly huge.
No.
Oh, here's a broad question, Andy. This is off Stephen. What would be the general day of an elf or fae? Like, what is their purpose? Here's a nice general question for you.
What's the purpose?
Yeah.
Have you? I've got to ask, Stephen. Have you ever even looked into what they're about? I've got to ask you because they work on nature. They are the nature spirits. That's so. A day in the life will be helping the plant life live. The trees, the plant, the bush, the weed, everything, the grass.
And
And then you move to gnomes, which as far as rock, everything is off a vibration, and they're all to do with it.
do you believe there's different types of fae do different jobs within like the
Yes.
growing side of things?
Yes.
So like gnomes would
I mean,
be.
they're a bit rock and earth, and,
Yeah.
earthy substances,
And then
crystals
obviously,
as
and then
well.
things like dryads would be trees, and
Dryads are bit trees, but
I
then you've got
presume
your
fairies are
subcategory.
flowers, ain't they?
Yeah, but then you have got tree fairies as well,
Right.
which are the smaller flying style fair that help out with trees, if you will.
Mhm.
So I mean, some elves, woodland elves, they're very treey. But yeah, it's just generally making sure nature turns its wheel.
Yeah.
That's what they're all about. They are the caretakers of the earth.
Right. Joanne says, "Are you going to do a Yule video, Becky?" I presume that includes you as well, Andy.
I very much doubt it. You see, last year we did a Christmas episode based all around Myth of Krampus, but
Yeah.
this year I've got absolutely no plans to do any sort of festive video.
Right. Here's a controversial one from Nicky Noo. Andy, do you believe in spirits as well as fae?
Are we talking human spirits? I think we are, aren't we?
Yeah.
No.
I will amend that. I will amend that though, Nicky. He does believe in residual hauntings.
I believe in residual non-intelligent. I believe that when the soul leaves the body at the moment in time, there is a transitional period.
Mm-hmm.
and I believe that you can contact souls coming in
Right.
intelligently.
Yeah. So,
But
so
the
technically, I
ones,
suppose you do believe in spirits,
technically yes,
but only
but
under
not the ones.
under very strict time things.
Yeah, not the ones that you can talk to from 1800s or
Yeah.
Victorian,
Yeah.
people or all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a going out, coming in time frame, and then then it's all residual, or anything intelligent is the nature. That's
Okay.
see it.
Right. Here's a question off John, which I actually know the answer to. Do any of the
Ooh,
Fae dislike any other types of Fae?
yes. Yeah, your main ones are red cap. They'll hang around castles, old ruins, stuff like that. They're quite rare, but there's a very, very, very well documented one at Leap Castle in Ireland. They ate everything that they come across. And then you'll have some members at Unseelie Court which will not like the Seelie because they're mixed with us and they're not meant to and stuff like that. So yeah, there can be disagreements in their own,
Yeah.
circles, if you will.
Yeah, and what you've got to note about the Seelie and the Unseelie is they're not good and evil split. It's just
No,
the Seelie are willing to cooperate with us, and the Unseelie aren't. That's
it's like purists and
yeah,
non-purists.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not a good and evil split. It that's the divide for them. Is us. Um, Joanne says all these fake questions are brilliant. Oh, and then the bloody bot decides to pop up and shoot me screen up. Um, Nikki says you've really opened her eyes.
All right,
Glad I
cool.
read that right. Um, Iggy's obsessed with the size of things. He wants to know how big is an ogre or a troll. Actually, I'd like to know the answer to this one. How big is an ogre or troll?
Ogres can't answer because ogres is something I've never got of a box or
Right.
thought I've seen or connected to
Yeah.
ever, so I can't really comment on that one. Troll, I've had through,
Mhm.
didn't see anything visually,
Yeah.
but I've had a trow, which is a form of a troll, and that were only about 4 foot tall.
Right. So
No, not even that.
they're not
Maybe
huge
3.
things.
No, it weren't a huge, huge thing, and I only got confirmation through that weird dance I told you about he were
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was quite small.
Right. Adventures with Carl says happy holidays everybody. Happy holidays, Carl. I'll say
Happy Yule.
I'll say happy Yule to you rather than happy holidays. Right, Joanne B says I like leprechauns though. Right, Joanne's rooting for the leprechauns.
Oh, good luck, Joanne.
Uh, Iggy, where do house brownies wee and poo? I suppose that is actually quite an interesting question.
Mm. Who says that they do? As well,
Exactly.
you know.
You know,
Um,
if we believe that they're energy beings or elementals, you know, do they need to?
yeah. Do they need to?
Hang on, let's. Yes, Nicky Mark has some fantastic captures of Cara. Jacob, we finished the readings for the night. Oh, he's an actually Iggy's asking quite interesting questions here tonight. He says, "Can the Fae interbreed? So could you get like a leprechaun brownie or something
There
like
is
that?"
there is only one species that has been documented in folklore and other people's research, and that is called an elfkin, which is an half elf, half gnome cross.
Right. Oh, that must be interesting.
Yeah. Apparently they're quite shunned.
Right.
That's in other research that I've read about.
Mhm.
But apparently they're shunned, but they're very, very, very good to deal with. So
So,
don't know if there's I can't say if there's any truth to it from our end.
right,
But
you've never
yeah,
encountered one.
no,
Right, but you've read that it is possible between elves and goblins. Right.
gnomes.
Elton
Elton
Gnomes,
Gnomes.
sorry.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick Streamlabs up in the air. I couldn't believe it, Joanne. I can't usually see anything, but I spotted Cara straight away before he even said she was there. Cara is absolutely huge, and I always say the way she moves, she always reminds me of a great white shark. She's just got that way of slowly cruising around the place like a great white does. And believe it or not, she appears like that on every video, and she moves like that on every video.
Yeah.
Vicky M says, "Oh, here's another interesting one, Andy. Do you think or believe people with rhesus blood are from another place?" Because there was somebody on the other night saying that her grandmother said because she was rhesus some negative that she'd got fey blood.
I think in modern day, a lot of people are saying that star seeds, don't they? They believe there's a lot to do with alien DNA and stuff like that.
Right.
Now, I do know a lot of modern day witches are starting to take on this starseed thing.
Yeah.
I've heard quite a lot talking about it. They've come to accept it.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if it's all to do with Fae, but maybe something to do with more alien.
Right.
Yeah,
See, I find it interesting that there's no missing link for us, and
mm,
I do genuinely believe that's an argument to say that we were genetically modified at some point, and that's
yeah.
why that link ain't been found. Right. Nicky New says, "Are trolls nasty, Andy?"
They can be, but they all can be. So it depends on you
The,
and how you're approaching and everything.
the Fae can be easily offended.
Yeah,
Here's an interesting one off Sam.
yeah.
Can these nature spirits or beings read what's on your mind? I
Oh yes.
asked this because it was on my mind in the army camp, but never mentioned, but got response on Spirit Box, which I never had
Right.
before.
So basically, right, an easy way to go with this with Faye, you don't have to speak a word to them. You can do it all via thought, but try and right. You hear this in a lot of holistic stuff and that. You know, it's about your vibration. That's what they read first.
Hmm.
So if you're going into a place with like a bit of a grump on, yeah, because
Yeah.
I went through a period of time where I said to Becky, I says, if Chloe, as ex-teammate, comes and puts me in a bad mood, I ain't going
Hmm.
because we ain't gonna get a thing. You know, we've got to be going in there with a very good vibration.
Yeah.
You know, and
Hmm.
that thought before you even ask, it'll be vibrating out of you, and they know they read it, and you can get answers
Yeah.
quickly before you've even asked verbally. So yeah, yeah, it's more about vibration than mind reading.
Right.
So that's a good key to communicating with Faye.
Right. Now Vicky's asked one, and I'll answer it first, and then you can give your answer.
Go on, man.
What if you don't believe in any of this topic? Perfectly fine, Vicky. I always say on my channel, whatever I say on this channel is my personal belief. I don't say that people have got to believe me, and I always say that it's only down to personal belief. What I believe could be proven wrong tomorrow, and then I'd have to change my belief systems. But if you don't believe in any of the faith, that is perfectly fine. Andy?
Yeah, yeah, same here. Absolutely fine. You know, nobody has to believe in it. All I say to people is that it's not a new thing. If you go back and look at it in history, it's a very long documented thing. So, you know, it's been around since start
Yeah.
over many cultures. So all we're doing is just like it's like a semi-revival of trying to talk to these beings, and that's it,
Mhm.
you know. And we're just showing you what we get and what we've researched and what we know about, and that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
It's down to individual to pick if they want to say, yeah, that's cool and look into it or not.
Yeah.
You know.
Nobody comes on here and is expected to believe a word we say. Because there's nothing proven in the paranormal, and you can only go on your own set of personal beliefs. There's things in the paranormal I don't believe in, There's
Yeah.
things in the paranormal I used to believe in and no longer do, and there's things that I never used to and do now. You know, nobody is an expert in the paranormal, regardless of what they claim, and you know, nobody knows everything. And you could study this field for 70 years of your life, and you'd still only scratch the surface of it. And even then, you'd still only be down to personal belief.
Hmm.
Because as soon as something's proven, it'll no longer be paranormal. It will be normal. Simple
That's
as.
it. Yeah.
Um, John says, "What don't you believe, Vicky?" Nikki says she reminds her of a shark as well. Right, oh, here's an interesting one off Iggy. What medium of exchange do the Fae use?
What medium of exchange?
As in, like, money or bargaining items?
Um, anything. It's right. Think of stuff that we offer them. Ain't necessarily going to be used by them. Like I said before, you can get a gnome that'll come and ask for tobacco, but
Hmm.
gnomes, are not known to smoke. Leprechauns are, so it's obviously some sort of, they're going to make trade. You know,
So
um,
they basically run a bartering system.
yeah. But they believe in just doing stuff for helping each other out as well with
Hmm.
with stuff. Like what we used to do. You know,
Yeah,
I could help you do something, and then you help me do something a bit later on, and stuff like that. Yeah, that's
yeah,
because it's all balanced to them. They don't believe in. If we walked out into the woods now and just put a load of offerings on the floor and walked away, they'd be like, "What?"
yeah.
They'd expect us to ask something of them,
Mm.
you know. And that's the only way that we'd get something to happen is by saying, right, so now I've put that out, can you talk through my box? And then they'll go, oh, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
You know, they won't expect it for now.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Elf and fairies. Vicky says she was just wondering. Um, Andy, what became of Stuart? That's off Joanne.
He's still around. Still get his name fruit box down again. He's very much a watcher. He always has been. Sometimes he likes to get involved depending what's happening. But yeah, he's still here.
Still very much around. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was him blowing on me that day in your living room.
he probably was. He probably was.
Here's another one off Iggy. What is the best evidence Andy has encountered of the existence of the Fae? That's a nice question. What would you consider up to present day your most convincing bit of evidence for you?
For me, it's so difficult to pinpoint one thing 'cause it's very much a collective, you
Right.
know. Um, Because like, there's the photographs,
Yeah.
There's the sometimes you get a very rare glimpse on video,
Mhm.
and they are out there on channel.
Yeah.
I have got some, and there's one that stands to mind. Last year we did a blue moon investigation in nature reserve, down road, down lane, and we were stood at the offering table, and Chloe went into a trance, staring over towards lane,
Yeah.
right, and I'm calling her, and she would just stood there like just gone,
Yeah.
and distance, Brex, you've been in this area,
Yeah.
distance from where you're stood at that table to the lane.
Yeah.
If somebody were to walk past it,
Mhm.
what do you think the size reference of that person would be? Would you reckon they'd look quite, you'd definitely see their head and the shoulders,
Oh
wouldn't you?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
they'd look like a normal sort of size
Normal
person,
sized person. Yeah.
just a little bit in distance,
Yeah.
just a little bit. Now, what we've got is what looks like, in reference to us, stood, is, I would say, no bigger than 4 or 5 inches tall, little being that runs into underbrush near a wall,
Yeah.
right? And he's crouching down and his head's looking around and it looks really bright, light skin, but with like a black vest on, right? And he's looking, and this is while Chloe's like completely staring in a trance.
Yeah.
And then he jumps up into a tree and dissipates away.
Oh, nice.
And that were all caught on camera, and I missed it first time round.
Yeah.
You know, and I saw it because I got pointed to look at what looked like there were gnomes at a tree base as
Yeah.
a panic camera, and it was just after that clip. I let it just play on a little bit, and I saw it run in,
Yeah.
and I was like, whoa, you know. So it's a really good bit. But I think one of my most excessive ones were the spirit box capture on gnomes when we first ever started talking to them,
Right.
because I asked what nature spirit we were talking to that evening. And I had put some coppers down just in case on the floor, and it said instantly, "It's the gnomes."
Yeah.
And then I went, "Oh," I was like, "What do you think of your gifts of copper?" And it went copper, copper twice,
Yeah.
and then take it, and then take it really deep twice in a row.
Wow.
Bang on.
I
As
think.
quick as that.
Yeah. I think one of the best recent pictures Andy had got was when we did the. I think it was. I don't know whether it was you or Kat who took it. When we did the Samhain festival.
Oh yeah, that one of Cat's pictures, yeah.
Yeah, and there is actually a picture of that, and you can actually see what looks like. Well, I think it's a gnome. That's what it looks like to me.
Right.
And he's sitting there, and you can actually see him sitting, propped up against the rock, with his legs and boots in front of him, and his little pointed hat on. And I think that, and it actually looks like he's sitting there, propped up against the rock, watching us.
Yeah, just sat chilling, weren't he?
Yeah,
You know, like,
absolutely amazing picture. Right, John says, are the Fae disgusted in how the human race treats the earth and nature?
Oh yes, especially unseelie. Yeah, there's a lot more we can do to help. You know, it is very frowned upon. I mean, littering's one of the big gripes.
Yeah.
You know, they always say if you go into an area, one of the best ways for them to take note of you is just to have a quick clean up first. You know.
Yeah.
And I promote, you know, I'm a smoker, and I promote people not to drop the cigarette butts.
Yeah, that is one thing we do whenever we're out. We keep the
Yeah.
cigarette butts in our pockets and then dispose of them elsewhere.
Yeah.
That is one thing. That's one thing Andy's very insistent on.
Yeah, and there is a certain lady out there that we know that still fails to listen to me on this.
Mm-hmm.
And she took one outside of David's gate yesterday in front of me, and I wasn't best impressed. I am going to have to have words with her about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What? It is a
I'm reading that as well.
Will I meet the life partner that I marry in the end? What are its characteristics, and is it close or far? I follow you from Syria, Damascus. No idea, I'm afraid, mate. No idea who your life partner's going to be. I'm afraid that's out of the realms of my abilities. Joanne says we get fined here £50 for dropping cig butts. It's 80. I think it's £85 in Rotherham.
Yeah, it's about 70 here as well.
ETA, it's nothing to do with the bottle of bourbon you opened. In relation to ETA's question, do you want to tell them what the Fae have or who the Fae have told you they worship, or is their god sort of thing?
What? What do you mean? What
Because he
what
says,
question
are they disgusted about nature and stuff?
Oh yeah, well, you see, they do worship the earth. Yeah, obviously, you know that because they are the caretakers. They have to. As far as what we can gather, they're very cryptic on it, but they are very close to. It's close, but not exactly like the Gaia theory.
Yeah.
Um.
So they're nothing like Jehovah's Witnesses, then they don't come running up to you with a watchtower and spill all this. They're a bit reluctant on it.
Yeah. Yeah. They believe because it is trying to take care of us, we should balance that by taking care of it.
Mm-hmm.
We are a part of it,
Yeah.
and it is a conscious thing. That's what they say. I mean, if that's through their consciousness, I don't know. Or if it's through us all, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There's odd ins and outs about it, but I don't think we'll ever get a straight answer or to the direct what they think about
Yeah.
it. 'Cause I think that I mean going to their realm and never coming back to find any sort of
Yeah.
understandable answer.
Yeah.
You know.
And the problem in going to their realm is you might not reappear back for a couple of 100 years.
Oh, I'd love that.
Do you think, Andy, if we ever push this planet too far, that they'd step in?
I believe that it is very possible, but in somebody else's research,
Mm-hmm.
they believe that we're on an opposite wheel turn to them.
Right.
And back in like BC times, that the wheel turn were parallel, and that's why everybody sort of were, when paganism was rife and you know witchcraft were quite rife, and
Yeah.
that people were really big believers in it all. They believed that because wheel were so close and parallel, then
Yeah.
we could deal with them a lot more. We could see them and everything like that.
Yeah.
But as it's spun out, and it's coming back round again, this is what they believe.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe that once it becomes so parallel that this is not my belief, this is somebody else's research. I just found it really interesting, so I'm just like telling you about it.
Yeah.
But they believe that they'll become denser
Right.
like us
Yeah.
and will become lighter like them. And that's going to be the next point of our evolution, they're saying.
So we'll meet in the middle.
We'll meet in the middle, and there'll be quite a time frame where we'll be partnered up with them again, but then we'll become the lighter beings, and they'll become the denser, and we're actually leaving it in a state for them.
Right.
And
Okay.
this is what the big
Yeah.
gripe is about. That that sounds like it'd make a really cool film.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's
So,
why
so,
I'm
so
going.
basically, they think that we at some point become their fae.
Yes.
That's quite an interesting theory, actually.
It's a theory that's cool. I'd never
Yeah.
heard it before, and I quite like that. That's cool.
Here's another interesting one off Joanne, and another one I know what you're going to answer. Andy, have you ever asked the fae if there are life forms on other planets?
According to gnomes, no. I can't really say that because I'm putting word. It's Ridley. It's Ridley. They talked about neospace and not planets, so it's really strange.
Hmm.
I can't really say that. Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird one. You ask them, Joanne. See what they said to you.
Iggy says, do you think the fae support nuclear energy?
Probably not now.
You don't think they
Definitely
do?
not. No.
Because it's got the potential to be a very unclean energy,
Yeah.
regardless of what. What do you think their opinions are on things like solar energy and
Oh, I think solar's good. Yeah, I think solar's fine.
yeah, and the same with wind power and stuff like that?
So long as it's not causing any damage, then yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's fine. Yeah.
Joanne says no, so we are a unique species. Is going to try.
Please do.
Iggy says he'll quote you on that. ETA, when paganism witchcraft was around more and the belief in the Fae was stronger, would they have given more energy to the Fae? I don't think we give energy to the Fae, do we?
No, no, we don't. They're a lot more energy dominant than us, I would imagine. Being able to pass through frequencies like they do and stuff like that. 'Cause it's something we can't really do unless we've got help from something such as themselves. I think what they did will help a lot more with witchcraft than people now believe.
Yeah.
Because I think it's them that were harnessing magic for witches. You know,
Yeah.
it come from them, and in general, I don't think we're magical enough beings. I think we can intently ask,
Yeah.
but it's a lot. In my belief, it's them that do the work for you.
Right. So they're the conduit. You're the intent, and they're the conduit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Joanne says I got a lot of wind power, lol, but that type of wind power isn't ecologically friendly, unfortunately, Joanne. Um, Iggy, I highly doubt that the Fae will support fracking, but I'll let
No,
Andy answer that one.
no, no.
Hasn't it been banned now?
I think I believe there's still a few around here that's still doing it.
I'm sure I read somewhere the other day that it's been made illegal somewhere.
Is it?
Yeah,
Good.
Andy's their tool.
I am a bit of a tool sometimes, but I've always had a thing. You know, I'll just bring up one of my own things because we are on ecological matters here.
Hmm.
I have always had a really, 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 really love-hate relationship with auto driving because
Yeah,
you are pouring chemicals out into atmosphere there from burning, you know, fuel for cars,
yeah,
and it's been one of them love-hate things for me because it's so needed to get out there,
yeah,
but yet it's so unnecessarily bad. You
yeah,
know what I mean? At the same
yeah,
time,
yeah,
I've always had that 50-50 trouble with driving.
yeah.
You know?
See, I'm like that with smoking. When people, even when you're outside and you're smoking and people moan,
Yeah.
and my answer to that is, I'm sorry, but you're probably breathing in more toxic chemicals from everyday
Oh
pollution
yeah. Oh yeah.
than you
Definitely.
am from this cigarette. So but
Yeah.
that's just my again that is just my personal belief.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
These people think they're breathing in fresh air, and it's far from it. Far from it. But yeah. Could the Fae be what is explained as either alien abduction phenomenon with human eggs and sperm taken, or succubus experience? Well, you believe the succubus are part of the Fae, don't you, Andy?
Yeah. A lot of people do. Yeah.
Do you believe they could be blamed for alien abduction phenomenon?
Possibly some. Um, if you've got the sort of the visuals at craft and that, I think
Hmm.
that kind of takes it away, though, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Because they don't need craft.
yeah. But
Um,
there have been. Oh, excuse me. There have been reports where people have just disappeared through portals, don't they? So I suppose you could say the Fae could have
yeah,
possibly done that.
maybe so.
But I think air flights do more damage than cars. Yeah, they do, Joanne. But there's that much pollution being churned out by factories and all sorts, and
Oh, it's just non-stop, innit?
and countries like China and stuff, they don't even bother to regulate it. If you take the samples of air of anywhere nowadays, there's no such thing as bloody fresh air.
No,
You're
no.
always breathing summer in, and hence why things like cancer and stuff have been on such a massive increase.
Yeah.
I still haven't remembered what that question was. I was going to ask tonight, and it was a really good one, and it's bugged me now. I was on a live this morning talking to a bunch of Bigfoot uh, enthusiasts in America,
All
and
right,
he
cool.
got a live camera pointed out into the woods, and that they were coming up with some right interesting theories about Bigfoot and stuff.
Yeah.
They believe that they're interdimensional alien and cryptid. They don't believe that we've developed natural, that we've evolved naturally, which is something I agree with. I do believe there's intervention there somewhere.
Yeah.
But one of the guys believes, that our most recent reset was about 1812. That
Oh,
because
okay.
we, because there's been I can't remember whether they said 5 or 6 extinction events on the Earth already, which is true. They have proven
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but this guy was claiming the most recent one was 1812, and that, you
Right.
know, and one of them was saying dinosaurs were fake, and that there was some right interesting
Well,
theories
yeah,
coming up.
apparently I've heard this that if you go into any museum and ask to test their dinosaur skeletons, they'll not allow you because apparently they're all plaster. They're all plaster.
Are they?
Yeah, there's not one real bone in any museums apparently, and
Oh,
you can
right.
go and ask, and they will tell you you cannot test. You know, you can't even swab test because it's going to come up with plaster.
Oh, wow.
I know it's a bit deep that.
Yeah. You know, but there was one guy on there who said, you know, the dinosaurs and everything have been faked, but you know, again, it's one of them things where I think, why?
You see, I read as well because I follow an Instagram page that it's called Connecting Consciousness,
Hmm.
and they come up with all sorts of thought-provoking little, like
Yeah.
motivational boxes, and they got on about this with dinosaurs, and they're saying that it were actual cover-up of dragons,
Right.
right? And hear me out, because this is their theory,
Yeah,
not
go
mine,
on. Yeah.
obviously. But they said that if you look back in history, that there is absolute marker points to dragons existing,
Right.
right? And that is what we are finding as dinosaurs, but they don't want you to think of them as dragons, so they're changing them,
Right.
yeah? And it says one of the biggest ones was Marco Polo, that actually went and spent so much time in China,
Yeah.
right? And he actually documented existence of them dragons, what the Chinese,
Yeah.
worship. He says they were very, very real. And the fact that Chinese zodiac has got a actual living now animal
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah.
and the only odd one out is a dragon.
Yeah.
And he said they were very, very real. And he said if you could go through history, that there is quite good evidence that there were real beings back then.
Yeah.
It's just that history's just been changed and changed and changed and changed to fit a narrative.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's pretty cool. I love it.
Yeah. ETA. John's put another interesting one there. Um, could the Fae be the ones bringing messages through from a spirit world, in that they deliver the messages?
Well, I'm gonna tell you now what face. Cause I've never held this secret, but it was the Fae that told me there is no spirit world. That it's all reincarnation.
Right.
That has come from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
They say we are very muchly batteries,
Mm-hmm.
and we are very muchly locked into coming back to keep it all going, and that's part of their version of the Gaia.
All right.
Basically, we are the Earth experiencing itself in a different format.
So basically, it's splitting off little parts of its consciousness to.
Little bits of energy, it's fired out,
Yeah.
and we are it, and it's constantly churning it.
All right.
That's basically their. Yeah.
Joanne says, I read that in 2012, at the end of the Mayan calendar, we all died and we are now living in a new dimension, so hello to all dead friends, lol.
Hi. Oh, I actually had somebody, a neighbour we used to live in Royston,
Yeah.
and as clock struck 12, he come running outside and he shouts, "I'm still alive!" We were like, what the hell's going on?
But haven't they since found a Mayan calendar that actually extends beyond 2012? I'm sure they have.
Yeah. It was literally just end of that cycle
Yeah.
calendar, weren't it?
Yeah,
They
because
freaked about.
yeah, because the Mayan calendar goes in year-long cycle, not just a year. They're like years long, ain't they? These cycles.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it was just that. You know, it's like getting your Michelin calendar on the wall, and when you get to December, you buy a new one. And I think it was just a case of it was that once one of these, massively long Mayan calendars had ended. It weren't the end of the world. But going back onto the dragon thing, it is really interesting because if you think about it, in nearly every culture around the world, they reference dragons.
Yeah.
And they were referenced long before people were communicating with one another.
various different looks as well. You know, because like obviously Chinese dragon's much different to our style folklore dragon. You know, so yeah, there's quite a few species. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Lindsay says, so when we think we are talking to our loved ones in spirit, is it the Fae doing this possibly?
I've come to believe so. I've got no solid proof of it, obviously. You know, we ain't got no solid proof of any on it, but I mean, I'm talking solid as in 100%
Yeah.
undeniable, you know. But I've come to believe so. You see, it's all about, especially when you start with Spirit Box, and because I believe you've got to build up a resonance with a Spirit Box, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes time to sometimes have a massive breakthrough with your replies. I mean, ours took a while, you know, to come. But I believe once you start getting your good, excellent, you know, responses like a lot of us do,
Mm-hmm.
you've got to read the context of what's coming.
Yeah.
You've got to know and be able to break it down. So if somebody, you know, like say, for example, if you're in an RAF base,
Yeah.
and I'm going to use this as an example from another team,
Mm-hmm.
they were outside an RAF base and they got a name of somebody come through a box,
Right.
Colonel Summit, and the
When
quickly
Colonel Sanders
researched.
was he?
No. They quickly researched it, and he were a true guy that actually were at that base.
Right. Yeah.
But then this thing that was speaking called them giants.
Mm.
They were like human giants or something like that.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that's one of the phrases at gnomes,
Yeah.
right?
Is that what they call us, giants?
Yeah. They call us giants because we're bigger out. You know, they're like, whoa, you're big, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But there were nowhere in there that said it's Colonel so and so. I'm dead.
Yeah.
It were more context of something telling them about Colonel something, a story, because
right.
they like story time.
Yeah.
They like telling you about things from past, and you know.
So they're like chroniclers.
Yeah, they document the shit out of everything. And in our experiences, they can project a replayance at you as well. And if stone tape theory residual is true, then that's part of them doing it.
Right.
Collecting information up through recordings that they can just show you. It still fits.
That's quite.
Because if they are the caretakers of the earth, and the gnomes work on the earth, the stone, and everything like that,
Yeah.
then they can show you a replaying of something that happened.
Exactly.
Quite easy. Yeah.
And it's like you say, you know, that it is like stone tape theory.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they can just reference it. Right. Joanne says, do you think the Fae tell lies?
They have got. This is another common theme. They'll not tell you a line. They'll riddle you. You gotta know the difference.
So they may give it. They'll give you the truth, but not necessarily direct truth.
Yeah.
Okay. Iggy, we don't know who'd win between a pixie and an imp in a fight, I'm afraid. Did Nephilim ever exist above? I honestly don't know personally, Joanne, because it's something I've never really. Obviously, I've read about them, and they're supposed to be giants, and there's claims that they found giant skeletons, but from a religious point of view, for me, no. You know, I ain't saying that there weren't some race of giant humanoid type things on the planet, because there might have been, but I don't think they were Nephilim in the sense that the Bible refers to them. If they were. But again, that's just my personal opinion. You know, because I don't believe in the Bible. I think it's, you know, a collection of stories. But again, my personal belief.
Yeah.
What do you think, Andy? Do you think there was a race of?
I think there were probably a potential again because there's documented history with big folk, isn't there? You know, like big folk.
Yeah, well, there's rumours they have dug up these giant skeletons.
And apparently, once they find them, government whip them off right quick.
Yeah.
Like I've seen empty burial chambers with a fun one. They've took the photos, they've gone back next day, and poof, skeleton's gone.
Yeah.
There could have been, but it'd tally up sort of with Dragon thing as
Mhm.
well. How that's sort of tried to have been
Yeah.
rewritten and forgot about, and
Yeah.
but again, I don't know about this whole breeding with daughters and man, and
Yeah.
on all this weird fallen angel
Yeah.
stuff. I can't bite it.
Yeah. Yeah, there are claims out there and photos and stuff that they have actually dug up these huge skeletons. Whether they're genuine or whether they're fake, I honestly don't know. But
Yeah,
I have seen pictures of giant skeletons. But the Bible claims that one of the reasons God sent the flood was to get rid of the Nephilim, to drown them all, and they have proven that there was a great flood at the time. But I
yeah.
just think the Bible was just you know discussing something that they knew had happened, and
Oh yeah,
they
yeah.
just incorporated it into the stories in a religious sense. So yeah, there was big lizards running around, so why not? And you got Gigantopithecus, which was a 12-foot ape.
Yeah.
So what? There could have quite easily been other giant humanoid type things running around, but I don't believe they were the product of alien human hybridation.
Now,
I just don't. But as for the giant people, yeah, it could be a possibility, I suppose. Yeah, and Nephilim is that basically it was women who had the children of angels. They were angel human hybrids. Or that's what the Bible claims anyway. But they supposedly grew massive, huge size. He says, "Do the Fae have any organised sports? Have they got any football teams, Andy?"
I wouldn't know. I doubt it.
I think they're too busy to be playing.
To be honest, I have heard of one actually.
Have
It's
you?
called Hunter Llama. Yeah,
Oh, is there?
Hunter Llama. Yeah. Apparently they come after you with elf bolts, and they're not very pretty when they get you.
Yeah, they give you a stroke if they get an headshot in. Yeah, Joanne. So yeah, it's quite possible there could have been massive humans on the planet, but like I say, I don't believe they were Nephilim as in the Bible definition of them. I just, because but again, that is all down to personal belief. If you believe in the Bible, you got to believe in Nephilim, I presume.
Well, I would imagine so. Yeah.
Unless you're one of these people who just pick and choose what you like in the Bible, which, let's be honest, does go on quite a lot.
It does.
They cherry pick their best bits and ignore the rest.
Yeah.
Lollygay Bible. I think, yeah, but it is right, Joe. Anything, it's right. Anything's possible, and if this multi-universe theory is to believe, on some universe, that on some dimension, they do exist. Do they have special games? The Fae? Have they ever told you they have like special seasons where they play any type of games?
Only thing I know is that they celebrate a full moon. They have a little mini festival. What they're doing that I would have no idea.
Right. Lindsay says, my personal thoughts on the Bible and all religious books were made to create fear so we could be controlled. My opinion, and that is exactly my opinion, Lindsay.
And mine.
Religion was just a way for mass social control. But again, everybody, before we get accused of being whatever, the leading authority on everything, it is all just personal opinion.
Yeah.
And anybody can go back in all my videos, and if they'd like to send me £1 for every time I've stated that in my videos, I will be very happy and very rich. But yeah, that's what I believe as well, Lindsay. They're just a form of social control. See, if you go back to paganism was very much a personal belief religion. There was no governing body to it. It was all based on what you believe for yourself. I have a friend who has recently given up on religion because she feels it's a control thing. Yeah, a lot of people are turning from it. Are the Fae polygamous? Depends which Fae, doesn't it? I suppose if you're a satire
Oh, aye. Oh, aye.
or a nymph, no. Yes, sorry. Do the Fae believe? Maureen wants to know if the Fae believe in Jesus. I highly doubt that one, Maureen. Christianity is the reason that paganism was pretty much wiped out off this country. Believe
And it
me.
was a violent wiping out as well.
Yeah. Believe me, Maureen, the Fae would not approve of Jesus in any way, shape, or form.
No.
There is nothing wrong with believing for some. I always say to people, Lindsay, I don't care what they believe, I don't care what they do, as long as it don't involve hurting kids or animals. People can do and believe what they want, as far as I'm concerned. Andy?
Yeah, I'm saying do as you please, as
Yeah.
long as it's not causing any hurt.
Yeah. Anytime none do what they will. Rather than do what thou wilt is the whole of the law. Which is what a lot of YouTube operates by.
Alright.
But yeah, I'm of the belief, Lindsay, even when the Jehovah's Witnesses come and knock my door, I just turn around and say, I'm a gay pagan, and they just beat a hasty retreat. But I never turn around and tell
I'd love
them,
to see the face.
it's hilarious, Andy. It's absolutely hilarious. But I never turn around and go, bugger off, I don't believe in your God.
Yeah.
I'll just do it a much quicker way, so we don't even have to get round to discussing God.
Oh, we've got one that frequents here, and he's an absolute replica of Kane from Poltergeist 2.
Oh, is he? Jesus.
Oh, he
I'd
is,
just,
yeah.
I'd just slam the door on him.
And he talks just like, like really tough voice.
He don't start going,
Oh,
God is in his holy temple, does he?
if he did, I'd go live on him. Trust me.
Sam says, does leprechauns fit into any of this, and is there anything to what they say that they make and repair shoes for the Fae? I'm just on the first paragraph of this folk tales book from, is that Sligo, Ireland?
It looks like it, yeah. Something like that. Yeah. Leprechauns very much they do fit into it. And I can't say if there's any truth to the shoe thing, but what I do know is there has been some cool little footwear found in Southern Ireland on a mountain. They only found one shoe, but it's in a family. It's like a family heirloom.
Oh, there you go. Joanne says it's pronounced Sligo. I'm sorry, but when it comes to the Irish language, I'll pronounce everything wrong. I used to call Banshee, which is the Irish for Banshee. For months, I used to call them B and City. Cause,
City.
yeah,
Yeah.
It don't look nothing like she. Go on, Andy. Sorry, carry on.
But yeah, this shoe that they found, if they were to scale it up, if it were a maquette, and they were to scale it up, it wouldn't fit a human dimension foot. It'd be much larger.
Right.
From heel placement and stuff like that. And this shoe has actually got wear on the bottom.
So something was wearing it then.
Yeah. There's actual rubbing at the heel and stuff like that. And it's perfectly structured. It's perfectly made, like via a proper cobbler. And like and it was found on a mountain. a medical doctor found it,
Hmm.
and I was like, I would love that shoe.
And where is
You
it
know,
now? Where is it now? Do you know?
it's a family own it. It's been passed down as an heirloom, and
So
it's in this little
it's in a
box.
private collection.
Yeah, yeah. But they have found little coats that are similar as well, with actual oil, on back collar at neck,
Yeah.
and little pipe burns in pocket. Where they've had some hot stored in there, and they would imagine it had been a pipe. And I think there were a gold coin in pocket as well.
See,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of thing. That's a lot of effort to go to in it to fake something that might never be found.
Oh yeah.
To
Oh yeah,
go
definitely.
to that kind of detail.
But they always set dimensions are strange. It's like because they scaled this coat up as well. Arms were too long, but to fit an human,
Yeah.
the armpits had been too small to get your arm in, but the cuffs were massive, like their hands were oversized. Really strange dimensions to these bits of clothing
Hang
that they
on,
find.
hang on. I've got to answer that of Lindsay's.
Alright.
As on about, she still calls the Grand Prix.
Pricks. Yeah.
I'm just getting her an answer.
Oh, oh dear. Oh, oh
He's
dear.
never going to live that down, is he?
You know him.
He's never using predictive text again. I really like it, Lindsay. She doesn't believe me, but she's 17 and loves music from the 30s, 40s, 50s, and I think it's from a previous life. What's your thing on Andy on people who come back with past life memories?
Oh, I think it's very possible. I mean, in my theory that I think as part of the control, what I could gather is that, do you know, like if you were coming back with a full memory, a bit like what Buddha is meant to do,
Yeah.
and Dalai Lama is it? They're meant to be
Yeah, well,
fully,
he has to go through tests, doesn't he, to prove it's him?
yeah, they're meant to be fully aware of the past lives and stuff, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I think put that aside. If that's cool and they can do that, then that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But for a general run-at-mill folk, if it were like that, I think after so long a leaving body, because that's that transitional period I talk about,
Yeah.
it goes into like I know it's crude, but like a mincer. Some people say, "Oh, we go back to the universe."
Yeah.
And yeah, kinda, but I think the energy gets minced up with other people's energy,
Yeah.
comes back to live again,
Yeah.
but you'll never be truly the full one that you are now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key element to remembering snippets.
See
And
what I believe. I believe something similar to that. See, I believe when we die, I think even when we're alive, we're in some way connected to some kind of collective consciousness.
yeah,
And I think that connection, even when we're alive, I personally think we're still connected to it. And I
yeah,
think when you die and you return to that collective consciousness, I believe you can actually choose to meld into it fully, or you can merge back into it but retain your personality or part of your personality. And
yeah,
then when you come back out again, obviously you bring what's left of it with you.
yeah.
And that's what I think. But I don't know what everybody else in the chat thinks.
It's right. It can get right deep, that sort of stuff.
Mm.
But no. Yeah, and I believe that's basically why a lot of people sort of do have little remembrances and stuff. I mean, I've never had one personally.
Yeah.
I've never gone, oh, I feel like I was this in a past life
No,
or
I
like
have. I haven't either.
I never ever felt it, But you see, there is foretellings from Fae that you can become one of them.
Yeah.
When you pass on, that you can be reincarnated into one of them. And I think that is the path of enlightenment.
See, I want to come back as a red cap.
Oh,
I'd find that I'd find that fun, Andy.
work towards it.
Yeah, I'd find that really fun.
We're victims now and
Yeah,
dying
yeah,
to
but I might get
people.
arrested before I die if I do that. Maureen says, oh, John says he's still trying to work out how to turn predictive text off. Might be a good idea to work that out sooner rather than later, John.
Very much.
Maureen says, are the Fae generally good?
Yeah.
I suppose it's what you term generally, innit?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, one terminology at collective is the good people.
Yeah.
Generally, yeah, they're just mischievous little buggers.
Yeah.
And mischievousness in perception can come across as bad.
See, the thing is, they have different perceptions of right and wrong to us anyway, don't they?
A little bit, yeah.
And the thing like manners is they don't understand thank you, do they? That it's more action based.
Yeah.
It's more action based rather than word based with them. So I suppose they could be doing something that they think is quite funny, whereas we'd consider it quite immoral.
Well, yeah, exactly.
And I suppose that's where people come into the perception that they're doing something evil. Lindsay says that could be how we remember our past lives when we get older, by music we listen to. It's part of who we always will be. Suppose it could be, Lindsay.
Yeah.
That's as good as a theory as anybody else's I've heard.
Definitely.
I don't really want to come back, to be honest. I've had deja vu, but that's all. Oh, I've had deja vu. It's weird.
I get it regular as well, but like really massive scenarioed ones as well.
Well, Joanne, it's all right if I come back as a red catfish because I can't swim, so I'll drown pretty quickly and come back as somewhere else after that. Sam says the Fae are feared in Ireland, often considered very dangerous. Why do you think that is, Andy? Because because Scotland and everywhere else considers the Fae, they do consider them untrustworthy, but that the Irish do tend to consider them extremely dangerous, don't they?
Yeah. All I can say is I don't know what Irish people were doing to upset them. Back in there, there could have been some, stuff done that were big, and they took offence. And again, I think it brings back to our sort of moral standard. People might have thought, "Well, we didn't deserve that," and something bad could have happened to a lot of people. We don't know. We don't know what happened.
Because Ireland's not a massive place, is it?
No.
So they could have done something on a complete Irish scale that could have really peed off the Fae, and then they had their revenge, sort of thing, and the Irish have never actually forgot it.
Yeah. I mean, we don't know if tide turned when Christianity moved in on Ireland.
Yeah.
Because the old St. Patrick's Day, I know the Irish love it, but I tell you now, the leprechauns don't.
Don't they?
Oh, God, well, no, if you look into what it's all about, it's about St. Patrick being a big Christian, killing the snakes.
Yeah, don't he bugger off all the snakes out of Ireland?
Yeah, apparently, and it were about, onslaught to some pagans and stuff like that, and they're not very keen on that, because I want to do something for it until I found out history of what it were about, and then, conferred with, some stuff, and I was like, yeah, we better not. So that could cause a great offence.
Mm-hmm.
It just shows, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's strange.
Yeah. But that could explain, even though the St. Patrick story may not be true in the sense of how it's portrayed in the Bible, today, I do believe a lot of stories in the Bible are based on some grain of truth. So maybe there was somebody in the, maybe somebody went round and did literally exterminate as many snakes in Ireland as he possibly could.
Yeah.
It could be somewhat as simple as that, and and they took complete offence at it.
Yeah.
Lindsay says it wants to come back to her mum and dad. See, Lindsay, I actually believe that some people do reincarnate within a certain group. Because there are lots of reports where people have, they've come back as a grandchild or as a parent's come back as a child and all sorts of weird things. But there again, you don't know how much, when they're in the home environment, what have they been picking up when they were little? You can never tell, can you?
Well, this is it.
Me too, Joanne, and my brother and baby girl.
You see, my mum's got a weird one with reincarnation thing. She's got a strong memory of past life.
Yeah.
You know, like back in which style era with them, like poofy dresses
A,
and like,
a buxom barmaid.
well, but she were only young in remembrance, and she were watching an eclipse,
Mm.
and it were like in that era, you know, like little Bo Peep style
Yeah.
with bonnets and that,
The
it were
mop,
like that.
the mop caps and everything.
Yeah, yeah. And then she's got a really strong remembrance of being in a future one.
Do you know, Andy?
Yeah.
I've heard this before.
Like like travelling in space in these shuttles and that, but really futuristic looking.
That is not the first time I've ever actually heard that, Andy.
Right.
I've read other things on people who claim that they remember future lives.
Yeah.
There's what well that woman I know from the alien abductee person. She
Yeah.
claims she's from 2 billion years in the future and remembers all that life.
Oh, yeah.
But I've also read it, in like paranormal magazines and stuff where people have done it. Sam said St Patrick got around a lot and he didn't have a Ford Focus to do that. The mind does wonder sometimes. John says he just wants to come back with a bigger tentacle.
Oh, dear.
Well, Lindsay will get a wish of a Grand Prix.
Oh,
Oh God, honestly, the way
I
these
know.
streams always end up in the gutter at the end of the night is
Oh,
hilarious.
yeah.
It's always funny. They do always end up in the gutter. But oh God. But yeah, your mum ain't alone in that one. Like I say, I do know
Right.
somebody personally, and I've known her 30 years, who's claimed that as long as I've known her.
Yeah.
But I've read it in like paranormal magazines and stuff, and books where there's people who've claimed they've been locked into futuristic cities and stuff.
Yeah.
Jane says he'll come back as a bird. It depends. If you come back as a turkey, that's not really the best thing to come back as, is
No,
it?
it isn't, is it? Oh, no.
You really do not want to come back as a turkey, Jane.
Oh, I watched some other day that got my thoughts tickled a little bit.
Hmm.
But they've made this artificial, like this artificial skin and stuff,
Ugh.
and they've put this artificial heart on it and lungs, and they've made this little carcass, right? And they plug these little bird-style wings in that they've made,
Oh, you're
and they've
kidding?
got it flopping about on this table,
Ugh.
and it were moving, right? And I said to Becky, I says, yeah, that's cool and stuff. I says, but it's all done on electrical impulse at minute. I says, but they really seriously need to research this and see if they can build something and to see if it develops intelligence, because if it does, what does that suggest?
Exactly.
You know? Because
Exactly.
if it can't learn and it can't understand or out like that and it can't, then it lends the fact that there is something inside us powering us.
Yeah.
But if it could, what is it? Oh yeah, it was food for thought, and I'm like, they seriously need to be testing this thing out.
It'll be interesting to see what the result is.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen says he'd like to come back as a gay fae. You'd never get him out of fairyland. Joanne says if I really had to come back, I'd come back as me and pee everybody off. Jane says I want to fly over people's heads and poop on them that have shit on me. Fair enough. Stephen says he really wants to be a gay fairy. I don't know whether I'd want to be a fairy. I want to be a red cap. You know, because you can commit murder and get away with it.
Well, yeah.
As soon as the police turn up, you just piss off back into the other realm, then you're in the car find
Yeah.
you know, you can literally commit murder and piss off the planet.
Becky's pegging I'm going to be coming back as a gnome, apparently.
You're coming back as a gnome, or she is.
Me.
It's quite possible. Becky, is Becky going to come back as an elf?
She reckons so.
Right, okay.
She's got some work to put in to be coming back as one of them.
Okay, pup, you okay, mate? You've missed the majority of the stream, to be honest with you. We're just pretty much winding it up now. We've done the card reading and we've had a nice discussion on the Fae and other things.
She's actually she's been disappeared and AWOL for the last half an hour, so I'm just going to give her a shout, see if she's alright.
Probably fell asleep.
Back in a minute. Yeah,
All
back in a minute.
Where did you disappear to, Rose? We're literally just about to close the stream in a minute. Because Andy's got some work he's got to do. But yeah, you know, I don't know whether coming back's a good idea or not. It depends what sort of world we're going to come back to, innit? Well, from what Andy's been telling me, Stephen, Fae gnomes actually look a lot like garden gnomes. I'm good, but I'm pissed at top. Oh, I don't take no notice to what any other channel's doing, to be honest with you, K-Pup. Just let them get on with it. You know, as long as I keep everybody happy on my channel, that's all I'm bothered about.
I'm back, she's alright.
Welcome back. Yeah, we're just here to entertain people on here. The rest of the world can do what they want as far as we're concerned. Ain't that right, Andy?
That's it. That's it.
You know. But yeah, it has been a good night. But it's been a fun chat again. And we've learned some very personal things about John and Lindsay, and
we have.
And Maureen's still gambling like a good un.
I've actually, next time I see John, I've got a little gift for him.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I have.
Becky ain't been crocheting willy warmers for gnomes, has her?
He's going to love this one I'm going to give him. He'll love it.
That's good, Joanne, as long as we keep you entertained, that's all that matters. You know, we can discuss serious matters at the same time. But, you know, that's the whole idea. This is what YouTube should be about, just having a laugh and getting a nice community going and just getting everybody's opinions on everything. Because like I say, you know, nothing I ever say on here should be taken as gospel. It's just my opinion. And what Andy says is Andy's opinion, and there's nobody on the planet who can say that they know anything with 100% certainty where the paranormal's concerned. Nobody. Otherwise, it wouldn't be the paranormal. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, Jane. This is our typical discussions. Fridays are even worse, believe it or not. We do focus solely on the paranormal on Fridays. Obviously, there probably won't be one next Friday. I don't know what the dates are actually, Andy. Let's have a look. See, next Friday's the 27th, so I'll let you know later in the week if I'm going to be coming on next Friday or not, because it is smack bang in the middle of the Christmas period. Uh, it'll probably depend on how bored me and Mandy am regarding nothing to watch on YouTube. Because this is normally when Andy does one of his impromptu live streams when we all decide we're bored and coax Andy
Yeah.
into doing one. Or we'll just get I'll just get the message. I'm bored. I think I'm going to do a live stream. And I'll go on then because I am as well. So yeah, but thank you, Andy, for coming on again tonight. It's
No
brilliant
problem.
night. And thank you to all my mod team for the work you've done over the year, or over the last few months anyway, because I ain't been doing it for the full year on here really. Um, and thank you to everybody for coming in, and wish you an happy Yule and a very happy New Year. So have a good night, everybody. And Andy, you can say your goodbyes to everybody.
Good night, everybody. Happy Yule.
Right, have a good night, all. And if we don't see you next week, we will see you obviously at the start of the new year. Oh, good, Sam's doing stuff over Christmas, so we'll have somebody to watch at least. Right, so we will say good night to you all now. Happy Yule and Happy New Year, and see you all in the new year if we don't see you next week.
See you later, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.